Pretty quiet to start here for futures as we get going into an absolutely monstrous week with not only the U.S. election to come tomorrow, we get a Fed decision this week, we get all kinds of earnings throughout the week as well. Tons of things moving around here so far this morning to talk about. We just got Tesla China deliveries down about 5% on a month-over-month basis. So Tesla downside to start. Just watching DJT here trying to make a move back to $30, still down about 2.5% here, a little more than 2.5%. It was way more than that at the lows on this Iowa poll that came out yesterday, suggesting Kamala all of a sudden ahead in that state. So we'll touch on DJT coming up, as I mentioned. Tesla downside here this morning as well, adding to what happened on Friday. Again, about a 5% decline on a month-over-month basis for China deliveries just coming out here in the pre-market this morning. Yeah, that headline to discuss as well. Nvidia set to go into the Dow, replacing Intel. End of an era, really, for Intel. I mean, it's 1.5%, but kind of within the range from where we were on Friday. But I mean, it was just a matter of time, I guess, given the year that Nvidia's had.
Ending a 25-year run in the Dow, Brendo, for the more high-flying and more relevant, I guess, Nvidia right now. Lots to talk about, guys. Berkshire Hathaway selling a huge portion of his Apple stake. We knew he was still selling Bank of America. Didn't know he was still selling Apple. Obviously, crypto in focus. Boeing today, the machinist vote on the new contract again. Right, this time maybe they'll ratify it. And Taiwan Semi building out huge expansion here, Brendo, their packaging facility as they look to meet the AI demand. Yeah,
I mean, it's interesting for Boeing. I just saw this pop up in front of me as well. SMCI just made a low. It's trying to bounce right now, some volume coming back in. But this, just absolute destruction if you zoom out here. Continuing. There was no bounce whatsoever on Friday or Thursday and Friday, really going into the weekend. And here we are pre-market at lows. $25 just breaks to the downside there for SMCI. It was $50 beginning of last week. We're cut in half here. Just a huge move.
And now people are coming after S&P, Brendo. They're saying they should have been a lot more diligent in auditing this company before adding them to the S&P and giving them the nod. Now basically looking for other people to blame because this company, doesn't look like it's able to hang on. $25 right now, 25, 27 we're trading at here.
Yeah, so many directions, so many headlines we can talk about this morning as we head, as I said, into just an absolute monster week ahead of the election, ahead of the Fed decision. Looks like it's going to be a quarter point, but I think a lot of people are going to be hanging on any kind of indication as to what's going to happen the remainder of this year. Remember, coming off not only that jobs report that we had on Friday, monster miss to the downside. If you missed it, it was 12,000 versus 200, and I think it was 50 or 225 that were expected. Comes out 12,000. Because of some of the hurricanes and weather-related issues that we've been dealing with this year as well. So lots to think about going into a brand new week, guys. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
We were just talking about it. We're finally get to go live, and we don't even put our mics on. It's our inaugural show here.
You know the good news? The great news is, no matter how this SMCI thing resolves itself,
what's up with that?
You don't have to worry about the latest addition to the Dow because Nvidia is going to be just fine. You don't have to worry. There's not going to be any shenanigans, and obviously somebody's going to be in a lot of, I don't want to say a lot of trouble. Usually someone is going to have the finger pointed at them over something like this. SMCI is going to end up reporting tomorrow. That's the idea. At least they better hope they do. So we'll see how that resolves. So DJT just went from red to green in the last couple of minutes. So that's going to be blasting around, we expect, today and tomorrow. But I love this Nvidia story. Finally, the reason you do the split, people said they should have added the Dow literally the day after they reverse split, but that's not how it goes. And Intel's going to be coming out. I think that makes obvious sense and logical sense to everybody. So going to look for that trade. I only want to look longs on Nvidia, but Amazon 200, man, it's still a sell zone apparently. We just couldn't break it out on Friday, and after the great report is what it is. There's still that selling happening at 200, and until then, until it busts through a
196 right now, man.
It's just going to have to be a short off that Bezos barrier, I suppose, still there.
Yeah. what was that like on Friday? It broke it a couple times, didn't it? Or
the initial break was
250.
It was clean. You just had to scalp it. You had to scalp it, and then
it
like,
came back so fast.
Came right back so fast. Like you had to have a stop order in.
One more at the end, beginning. Yeah, okay.
It was pretty much a standard sell zone on it. Not that you couldn't have made money long, because I think anybody with, if you took profits, you were making longs. But wow, still.
Did we find out? Like, he's not still selling it, is he? Or we're just saying that's the level that he sold it at? We're gonna have to find out because.
Well, he still had some that he was eligible to sell. Whether or not he sold more, we'll find out.
Oh man, my thing still says I gotta log into Stream Deck over here. I still have Obi's thing going on here. Yeah, welcome. Thanks, Obi, for filling in on Friday. I was telling Neil, he asked me how the trip was, and finally went to Olive Garden. So, yeah, it made Adair really happy there. The team went to Olive Garden for one of the lunches. It was fine. Thing is, it's a lot of food. Like, I just had the spaghetti bolognese because it also comes with, it was lunch. And it also comes with the salad or soup and breadsticks. But like, just seeing what people were bringing out, it was like, you know, listen to this, for $22, nobody got this, but you get something called the Tour of Italy.
That sounds.
Adair, people can see Adair in the back. She's liking this story. She told us Winnipeg, she thinks, has the most per capita Olive Gardens, potentially. Yeah, potentially.
That's a lot.
Thinks, potentially. And anyways, it's chicken parmesan, it's lasagna, and it might even be a pasta or something on the side of it as well. Plus you get the breadsticks, plus the salad. All this. I'm just like, what? Like, how could you possibly? That's just a lot of food.
It's chicken parm and lasagna with a side of more pasta.
Exactly. And then you also get the breadsticks and all that other stuff too. Anyways, it was a great time. The kids loved it. Really easy stuff. And then we did the Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
Then we did the Target. We had a big run there. And yeah, it was a lot of fun.
That's what's
all right.
about.
Yeah, we're going to, this is also, I think it's 20% of the S&P 500 actually report this week. So,
it's not over yet.
just because we're done the Mag 7 here, basically, without Nvidia, doesn't mean that we don't have a lot to go through. And then so I've written down Intel and Tesla here early, obviously Amazon and a couple other names here to look at.
You know who reports tonight?
No, who? Oh, Palantir? Yeah. Okay. And Palantir. And there's another one, Palantir and someone else pretty good. 68 right now. So Bitcoin, just want to bring this to attention here. 69,000 breaking, heading a little bit southbound. Michael Noss got some splaining to do here. And he's talked about that. Every time we think it's breaking out, it goes the other way. So I think that he was calling it like the Michael Noss jinx there in crypto. So maybe we'll find out about that one. But hey, look, the chart still is what it is. I mean, we can't control any of this. And I think that a lot of it has to do with, and I said this to Sharif before as well, that Kalshi site that I keep showing over and over again has changed, right? Like now it was, see, the last time I was here, it was 62, right? That was Thursday. And now you're back down into here into 50, well, okay, 56.45. It's better than it was. Last night, there was a chart on here. Right here, you see it got to 50-50. No, it basically did. I don't know what day this was. This is November 2nd or 3rd. It got to 50-50, and then last night it was pretty close again. Now you're extending one more time there. So I don't know how valid this is, but it's going to relate to DJT, of course, today. I have SMCI up right here as well. And the reason why I brought that up too is Bitcoin, right? I mean, Donald Trump went and said that his very first day in office, he's going to fire Gary Gensler. Donald Trump has said that numerous times in front of all of the crypto conventions. Yeah. So if he does fire him, I mean, what does that do for Bitcoin? I think it sends it higher. I don't know what everyone else's opinion is.
Can't hurt.
But yeah, so anyways, we'll see what happens. I don't know if I think regulation is probably good for crypto.
I mean, ultimately, yeah, it's the type of regulation and how strict you want to be, which I guess, this is the crazy thing is that's what makes tomorrow night so much fun for the markets, because you're going to have a lot to watch on reaction. We haven't even talked about cannabis, which was moved. Some of the cannabis stocks were moving around as well. So there is going to be a ton to watch. Not just DJT per se tomorrow night, and it should be a wild one. It's almost like people don't even care about the Fed this week.
That's
really we
Thursday.
Yeah, it's a day later because of the election. Obviously,
Randy's here.
Randy is in the house, so we're locked and loaded, ready to go. I cannot believe DJT is now up 2% as it continues to rally.
He has the bananas here today.
I've been getting my own.
I know.
So now I get
multiple bananas here.
No, basically, they're never that ripe, so I kind of like to let one ripen so it's better the next day. So I'm always like one ahead.
How's everything going? All right. You're going to get in trouble if you don't pick up the mic, but that's okay. We don't. There it is. Anything on the barbecue this past weekend?
None.
None.
I'm falling behind on my barbecue duty.
How is the, my daughter, ever since helping me rake all the leaves, is now noticing that they don't stop falling.
No.
So,
what? I did 16 bags on the weekend.
What?
Yeah.
1/6?
1/6.
16
How many acres do you live
I'll
on?
send you pictures. No, I did for a buddy of mine.
Okay.
Down on the beaches.
Okay. Oh, that's
and
nice.
We're only halfway done.
How are those arms going then, man? Oh, yeah.
Sore.
It's a lot of work.
Oh, baby.
Yeah, you like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you really like that.
Yeah, lots of fall. Lots of
16
yard
balls.
work.
It's not a lesson.
At my parents' house, they have does your friend have it in, or whoever at his location, where you put the leaves on the road and then they come with the...
No.
No?
No. And people get upset if you...
The curbside service.
Yeah.
Oh, they pick up the bags, but yeah, they don't vacuum them up. Or
We're like
anything.
one street away from getting the curbside.
Oh, okay.
It's like
That'd be
everyone
nice
else
to get
gets
those,
it.
but I don't want to go out and put them on the road either.
Yeah.
Is it coffee time?
Chop those. I would,
Always.
Yeah.
Yes.
Get to the chopper.
Here we go.
Get to the job.
All right. Thank you, Randy.
Thanks, Randy.
And wow, great work out there on 16 bags. That's a lot, because the thing is, you push them down, and like 16
My daughter
bags
loves
is like
the squash. She's all about the squishing.
I can't even imagine how like.
And then she'll sit on it.
We did 3 or 4, and I was like, man, that's a
lot.
That's a lot.
We usually end up. We have to do a couple of rounds, but like we'll do like in one round it'll be 4 or 5.
Right. Exactly.
And then half of those are, and I'm not naming any names, across the street with the maple tree.
That's what we have in my front yard.
Love them.
We have a maple tree. It's a
No, the maple trees are the worst.
but they're so beautiful.
They're gorgeous,
ours turns
but
red
there's a
so
lot of work.
early. It's crazy.
Jeez.
Mara, IBIT, Ethereum. Okay, I see he's ready to go. Michael Noss has some explaining to do here, because all of the crypto bulls, this man's trying to put the market on his back, and every time he does, it kind of falls back down a little bit. So I think we're holding out pretty good here around 69,000. But regardless, I'm not sure if we're ready for him yet, but let's go back over to the desk and figure out what's next.
It's all your fault. What'd you do?
I promised, right, that was the last time I'd talk about it. And that last week's candle looks really, really gross. So you won't hear any crypto talk from me until we're like over 75,000 now.
Deal. And then we'll talk about 100,000 for whenever. Yeah, I mean, a huge event as we teed it up to kick things off at 8:30. Obviously, everyone's well aware. The election coming up tomorrow going to be a massive influence, not only on individual areas of the overall market, but the overall market itself. This chart that you have brought with you absolutely nailed it, I think, as far as the overall market performance based on each president. So I'll throw it to you, but this is pretty telling, Mr. Noss.
Yeah, and I think this is probably the best station that you can tune in to hear about this kind of stuff and how the market's going to be affected, because we're all Canadian, so we don't have a dog in the fight. Just I want to do that preface going forward that I couldn't vote if I want to. I live in another country, so we're just going to look at everything from a pure, what does the market normally do when things happen? So a shout out here to Y Charts. I did a lot of research on the weekend. I got most of the information from this. They have a good press packet that you can do over at Y Charts, so big shout out to them. But the first couple I just want to get out of the way to kind of talk about something that Warren Buffett talked about all the time, to kind of take your politics out of your trading and out of your investing. This is one good chart to just show what would happen where this is just the S&P 500 going back to, I believe, 1933, and just showing under different presidents and what would happen, colored red or blue based off Democrat or Republican. You can see the market generally goes up over time with a few hiccups here and there. So if you were saying, well, I think, this political party is bad or this political party is going to be better, and I'm only going to invest during these other parties, I have some data on that in the next few slides that I think will be a little bit eye-opening. So the next slide just shows what would happen. Your annual return on the S&P 500 is about 8% on average. It's about what the market gives you if you just plunk your money in there and you don't do anything. If you only invested when there was a Republican president, it's only 2.78%, which is barely above inflation. And if you only invested when there was a Democrat president, it's only 5%, which is, again, you're losing at least half of your return. But this next chart, I think, really shows this. So this chart assumes $100,000 initial investment in 1928. And it says the red line is what happens if I only invested when the Republicans were in power. That $10,000 goes to $77,000. Well, what if I only invested when the Democrats were in power? Well, that $10,000 goes to $500,000. But what if I just invested all of the time and left my politics completely out of it? That $10,000 turns into $3.5 million. So it's a very stark number that says, hey, this is what's going to happen with the market kind of regardless of who's in power. The outside forces have a lot to do with it more than the actual political candidate itself. And just look at all the money that you're leaving on the table here. But we'll get into some actionable stuff here going forward. So the next chart is a bit of a breakdown of what happens for a projected annual return based off of different splits. So for example, if the Democrats own the House and the Senate, and they also have the presidency, the average is about 9% a year. If the Democrats are in a divided market, this is where our best returns would get. So if we want to place bets purely off what we think is going to be the best return over time, you would want this Democrat president and then Republican House and Senate. I don't know why, but you can see the number there, about 16% average gain when these occurs from 1950 to 2023, whereas everything else is a little bit less. So that just seems to be the best average split. I don't know why. Who doesn't? Who knows why? But another interesting thing, and this is, I think, one of my favorite charts of it, is the next chart that I have that shows the volatility index on the election day and on inauguration day. So, and we're starting to see this a little bit now. So this is seasonality, I guess, for volatility is the best way to put it. If you take the average volatility based off of certain months, this is generally what you end up seeing, where that first line is the election day. You can see that's generally around the height of the volatility of the market. We have a little bit of an inflated VIX right now. It's not too crazy, but it is a little bit above normal. And then from the election day down to inauguration day, that volatility usually declines because I think, things get more and more certain of who's going to be in office and what's going to happen, and all the votes are counted, and any legal disputes start to get out of the way and all of that. And it generally drifts down from a volatility point of view at the end of the year. That, generally speaking, is going to be bullish for stocks. The stocks don't generally like volatility. Us as traders, we like volatility, but just general direction of the market, generally not a fan too much of volatility. So a couple more charts. This next one was very interesting, just basically showing the breakdown by sector based off of which of these parties we're in. And I brought this chart in because I think it's very important to note that people that try to take bets around, I think this party would be better for marijuana, and I think this party would be better for tech or whatever it is, and try to make those bets are usually wrong. And this is a great chart to show. If we look at the actual top line areas, under Trump, you had the best returns under U.S. growth, which is tech companies, right? And a lot of people would think Republicans would be best for commodities and manufacturing jobs and things like that. But that was the complete opposite. Under Biden, you had the largest growth being 70% in the commodity sector. So if you're sitting there and you're trying to make bets on if this person wins, I think this sector will do well. If that person wins, I think that sector would look well. Again, it looks harder. And I don't need to bury the lead for too long. We only have a couple of charts left, but you guys know me, and the whole summary of this will be there's a lot here that we can't predict, so we're going to start looking at charts just like we always do, right? Next chart here, this one is absolutely fantastic. This is just the seasonality on average from 1950 to 2024 based off of each individual month and generally what happens during an election year. Now, we're seeing a little bit of this now where you have a little bit of a pullback in October, November as that election gets close. You can see that would correspond with the heightened volatility that we got. And now that when volatility comes down, generally after the election, generally speaking, you have November and December just ripping into the end of the year. And that's a really, really strong correlation. Now, doesn't mean it has to. It's certainly not going to do that every time, but we've been talking about it a lot. The market likes certainty. And once the market gets certainty, then you can start to get moves that make a little bit more sense. So for me, as someone who likes to trade from the long side, I hope that this is what's going to happen. So it just means you only got a couple days left. right? Maybe hold back if you're looking to invest money or you're looking to take long only trades. That's what I'll be doing, just waiting till Wednesday and see what happens, and then looking to get involved. So 2 more charts. First one just shows the return, and we're just looking for the return 1 year out from the election day. So that center line is election day. The blue line is on average what happens when a Democrat wins, and the red line is on average what happens when a Republican wins. And what's very interesting, if you focus very closely on the actual election day, you see that generally speaking, when a Democrat wins, there's a bit of a pullback, and then it runs 4 to 6 months later. When a Republican wins, you get the run generally happening right away, and then you get some sort of pullback or crash 6 to 8 months later. So again, these are interesting things. You're not going to take trades based off of these, but you may look at it and say, okay, if the market pushes down immediately, if the Democrat ends up winning, then hey, I know that maybe I should look out 6 months for when this move generally moves, and this data goes back to 1928. So very last chart here, and this is just the average, what happened, the average chart on election day, so just combining those two as well. So actually, when you look at what happens after election day with the dark blue line, in which there's, that's denoting the years that there are elections, this is a zoomed in version of that other chart I showed above, where you get a little bit of chop for the next month or so. So November-ish, maybe 2 weeks into November, maybe a month into November, expect a little bit of chop, and then you get a push for the next few years. And thankfully, we won't be talking about politics then. The next bit of seasonality that comes up, which I don't have charts for yet, but we'll talk about that in 2 years' time, is the seasonality around the midterm elections. But essentially what happens is after this election day, you get a couple weeks of people just digesting what happened, and then the market is finally free of having to worry about elections. They know what's going on, and again, generally speaking, you get this drift higher. So if you just compare that to where we are in the markets right now, kind of makes sense. The last couple of days have been a little bit high volatility, a little bit choppy. So everybody seems to be waiting. And for me, I know that's my kind of key takeaway from this, is that the market's going to do what the market's going to do. There's some seasonality things that we can look at, but more than anything, we're just looking for Wednesday to occur, regardless of what happens on Tuesday, so that we can start to look at charts again and start to digest what the message of the market and kind of get back involved in trading.
And visible or visual aids to back that up as well. And I think it's important to kind of reiterate the fact that, yes, this is all very interesting and key to look at while we're here. But overall, as you said, you know, no one's sitting around. I mean, you can bet on what is happening as far as the election is concerned, but no one's sitting around putting on actual investment positions at this point.
No, and this is generally why you get this volatility spike, and then I think the volatility draw, and then that's why you also get the market choppiness and then the market trend afterwards, is because, you know, I mentioned this before, if I'm running a multi-billion-dollar fund and it's Monday and the election's Tuesday, I'm not telling any of my traders to go take any trades today. We're taking the next couple days off, and we're doing what I just did right here. We're gathering data. We're starting to take a look and say, this is generally what happens when X occurs. This is generally what happens when Y occurs, and all of that. And you're just waiting for the event to occur. I'm looking at elections as basically earnings for the stock market. If I know that Apple has earnings tomorrow, I'm not trading it today. I'm going to wait for tomorrow. And the same with the overall market. There's an election tomorrow, so I'll just wait till Wednesday.
Good plan. Michael Noss, back with us after the close tonight. We will see you then.
Talk to you then.
Thank you very much, Sir Michael. The other important takeaway, I think, from a lot of that, I know a lot of you gathered, nothing wrong with buy and hold in the long term. The power of compounding and certainly and leaving your money in the market in a general sense, it really pointed out, like, not that anybody would have a strategy where it's like every 4 years you're deciding whether you pull everything out and then waiting 4 years to put it back in there. Like that, it doesn't make a lot of sense. But I mean, people might try that with individual sectors and all that. I think the other thing to consider with a week like this week, where you're going to have the election, where you're going to have the Fed, and we still have some big earnings to get to, you don't want to lose sight of the places where you have a little bit of certainty, like the names that have already reported and shown you trading levels off of those reports. That's why we're going to talk about like something like Amazon. That's why we can talk about things like Tesla. Now, Apple's reported and Google. And so when you have these names that have given you the report already and you've got some direction to play off of them, I think you, as a day trader, you can be a little more confident in those levels as opposed to the ones that still have yet to give their numbers out there. That's why they'll be, and I'll be looking at Amazon and Tesla today, and we'll be looking at things. Well, I mean, Intel and Nvidia are different because they have their own stories, but I think that's what you want to make sure you hone in on. Trade things that you expect are going to give you good price levels and reasons to get in and out, or give some kind of a good catalyst for you. Those are the things that matter here, and there's going to be a lot of them later on this week.
Yeah, no, and I think that's. And if you're just joining us now, please rewind. I'll stay on the live stream, but go back. I mean, some of those charts there, we're just talking about the different sectors and things like that. Very interesting to take in consideration. For me, and again, I know we didn't want to talk about it because we had sort of jinxed the whole Bitcoin thing, but that's going to be a brand new one. Like that's another sort of asset class and another piece of the puzzle here that I think will move the most out of all of these. I think if Donald Trump gets in, I think Bitcoin can actually go up pretty nicely there. That would be the number one sector for me to look at. We've seen gold at all-time highs. I mean, we talked a little bit about that as well. And then what about the tariffs? Like Donald Trump's basic plan is tariffs. So I think that can help out domestic automakers as well. So I think the autos is another spot you can look at with Tesla being hit down here. We'll talk about Tesla. It's going to be on the sticky note. That's another area to look at, I think, here in the next couple of days as well, especially with Elon and his affinity for a certain party as well. So
it's true.
Okay. All right. It's almost 8:56. Well, it is 8:56 now, almost 9 o'clock. We're really excited to be here again today. I think it's going to be Joe, if I'm not mistaken, and Sharif on the midday show. That's always a lot of fun. We want to thank Raider Trader for last week.
Great week.
That was a great week. Great to have him by, and hopefully he'll be, on the show more of a regular spot there. If we can get him up more. Really impressed us all. So we were really happy to have him on board. And so I didn't even see the super chat. So go ahead.
Let's get to the first super chat of the day. Thank you very much here, Covalence. You've got FOMC 2 days after the election, and options market keeping, you assuming vol. Up through that. Wouldn't Friday be a better time to relook at charts, not Wednesday? I think, sort of extending on Michael's point that the election's like a gigantic event, and certainly you have another one there with the Fed, so some traders might be taking a little bit off until they get both. There's a logic to that. The only counter I would have is the expectation that we get a quarter point is like very, very high, I think. So I don't know that we're going to get something different out of the Fed. At least that's my sense. And I would think the election is going to be like a big catalyst. There might be some risk put on back there. It's not as big of a deal as last Fed meeting, where we didn't know with any certainty what we were going to get. Like, were we going to get a quarter? Were we going to get a half, 50? And we're pretty much locked in that we're going to get the quarter at this point. So I think it's not quite as big of a deal as it was the last Fed. But no, it's not. It is a valid point.
I mean, people have thought about that jobs number that came through, but the thing is, it was so affected by the hurricane and all that stuff, right? So it's like that number, I don't think is going to affect what they deal with there on Thursday, Fed meeting on Thursday. So, but wow, I'm just so excited for. I was just saying the winter training starts on Tuesday night. I was just thinking, I'm going back and forth. That's what I was texting. Some coaches are already asking me about what we're going to be doing on Tuesday night. And it's like, oh man, Tuesday night. So the training is 6:30 to 8:30. By the time we get home, it'll be 9 and change. Wow. Yeah, then we got to,
Then the results start coming in.
I know. And then we got to be here early the next day as we have a thing with Italy. And then it's, onto the show. I'm really excited for tomorrow.
Italy.
Just being in Buffalo and everything, and just in upstate New York there, it's like, it's pretty everywhere. So Bills gear everywhere, and then just a lot of Trump and everything all over. Sports and politics.
61-yard
field goal,
game-winning field goal. Bass from the outhouse to the penthouse. The guy had been missed extra point.
Yep.
He hasn't been kicking well. Oh my goodness, I can't believe that. It felt so good. Shouldn't
was a good game.
Shouldn't have needed a field goal.
No, that was the other thing.
I'll take it. I'm upgrading the Buffalo Bills from number 1 to like the greatest team in the history of the NFL. So you can't go higher than number 1. I just realized that. I always have them number 1. But let's see what else is upgraded and downgraded.
Number 1 all time.
It's all time.
What's wrong?
We'll be back. Wait, a little bit of a microphone issue there, so we'll go back to we'll get back to it there when we get that one fixed. Apologies, everybody. Although I did see a name on that list that had an interesting day on Friday, and it was a top one, and that would be the old Piton. And if you can't, look, Peloton, what? Yeah, no, double upgrade. Yeah, except on Friday,
Double your fun.
it was the absolute, like, when we talk about like flat bottom breaks or we talk about shelves being broken, the Peloton at about 820 was the example. Like if you go into Thursday's action, it was all upside on Peloton. They were screaming, they were squeezing, and once this thing lost about 815, not the time, but 815, the dollar level. Once it lost that, which was afternoon support, it was all game over. It sold straight off $1, and it's going to be right back to that level any second now. So Peloton goes up $2, Peloton comes down $1.50, Peloton now up almost 9% here. That's going to be another one to watch. And like we were saying earlier, you've got to be able to stick to names that are going to be in play, not just the ones that are reporting today, but the ones that have given you levels and have already had the report. So Peloton, bit of a day 2, day 3. I saw Roblox on there as well.
Oh,
Roblox has been holding that.
I wasn't looking there.
Roblox has been holding that 52.
Wow.
It's looking fantastic. Consolidated, held 50 the first day after earnings, held 51 on Friday. Now it's gapping, trying to break back out. So another continuation play, another 3% for Roblox. They've been doing great after earnings.
Yeah, that's a good one there. Okay, I just want to say, yeah, thanks to Dara. We're going to work through that mic issue. If we can get the upgrades and downgrades back, we will get it. But let's go to if we're ready, we can go to the desk and we can sort of start working through our rundown.
Yeah, as Sean was saying, we'll jump right into the overall market here. I mean, we're still kind of hanging out, not a heck of a lot to look at as far as price action for the market this morning. I mean, a lot of individual catalysts so far, though.
Yeah, let's have a look at
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we're essentially flat right now on the ES. We closed out at 57.57 on Friday. And we're basically a few points below that 57.61 right now. As you see, we kind of tried to work back into that 5,800 point area. We did reject, so we'll use 5,800 today as resistance. If we continue to trend down ahead of these elections, we're looking at 57.25 as support.
All right, if you haven't done so yet, make sure you jump down to the description of this video and grab our absolutely free watch list. All you need is your email address. Top link in the description is for the watch list. Enter your email, and then you get that every single day, absolutely free, right to your inbox, as I mentioned. I mean, there's a ton to talk about this morning. I mean, Tesla is interesting to kick things off here. Trying to bounce, or it was trying to bounce a little bit, but we're heading back southbound right now. Rejected 245, trying to hold 242, 243 again. China deliveries coming out this morning down about 5%, 5.5% month over month on the back of what happened on Friday. We did try to recover some going into the close, but huge gap down and a 2% kind of a morning here.
Yeah, he sold about 68,280 vehicles, Brendo, in October for China. That's about, as you mentioned, 5% and change decline month over month, but it's also a 22.5% decline year over year. Now, a lot of reasons for that. Weakness in the Chinese market, an older lineup from Tesla, the Model 3, the Model Y, the S, the X, they're all getting dated. In addition to that, BYD expanding their footprint quite aggressively in Asia. Record-breaking month, Brendo, for BYD, 66.2% year-over-year increase in sales, but we should put a little bit of a caveat on that. They have hybrids and ICE, while Tesla only has strictly EVs.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to get that one-to-one comparison. I also noticed XPeng. I mean, NIO 1.5%, but XPEV up 5.5% this morning on the back of the same. So we'll touch on some of these ADRs, I'm sure, coming up as well. But this does not look promising here this morning, guys, for Tesla.
No.
Not really. So Tesla tried on Friday. There's no question about it. Like right at the open, the first thing it attempted to do was, make a little bit of a break through what was Thursday's afternoon low, or high, I should say. And you kind of see the pattern here. Like it's stair-step down since we made that test of 270. And then when you lost 255 to 250, and then it consolidated, broke down, and then prior support turned into prior resistance. Like it was just clean stair-step. The only trade I had was was underneath the 250 level. I was actually thinking if it could have held 250. You get breakout to 255 on Friday. Clearly, that doesn't happen. So underneath 250, you have to look back to what happened the previous day, which is if that previous support turns into resistance, then you want to use it, and that's 247. So I actually didn't draw the line in there, but there you go. It's like 246.80 or whatever. It doesn't really matter. 247, 250. Those are two levels to look for short trades continuation. Good news is the 50 period is looming. On the daily, I think that 235 provides a potential bounce spot for Tesla. But you get the pullback. Seems like all roads are at least headed toward the 40 level, if not the 235. I'm not sure we get there today, but the previous day low and then the 250. Pretty clean levels if you look at the pattern here in Tesla. Selling off since those crazy 2 days on earnings where we had so much fun. And you're only halfway back. So it's still a strong move post earnings. You're just starting to give a little bit back, or continuing, I should say.
Yeah. 55-45 Trump now. Okay, that's going to be wild. I was going to go over here. I was like, let me see just selfishly how many follow. One more follower, we get to 48.5. So you can be the next one there. Look, I wrote down Tesla right here. Almost the exact same thing that Neil was talking about right there. Get this man an iron, whoever's on the screen right there. I want to get that thing off there. Get that up here. Cancel that one. All right. There we go. Yeah, Neil. Yeah. Get the Neil one there. Yeah, there we go. The best one is the Sharif one, of course.
Yeah, I like the Sharif.
All right. So 247 to 249. I mean, I think that's right. Start the trade here. And what I wrote down on the sticky note was the same kind of thing here. 247, 249. There's a $2 range here from Friday's close. Build the short. The bad numbers are out of China. So I want to stay with that. And again, looking at what it's done today, we're down. The market's down. It's down 2%. We may not get anywhere near 247. But because it's a Monday, because, again, we talked about sort of the election tomorrow, but I don't think that's necessarily going to affect Tesla, not today. I think Elon's opinions and everything like that, we'll see if all the money spent and all that effort will pay off come tomorrow. But at the end of the day, you're still underneath. So I would think that this support area that obviously held on Friday is now broken into today, and it's broken with a catalyst. If there was no catalyst, then I would be trying to go long down here just saying, why is it down here? But we know why. Those numbers out of China are bad. So year over year, quarter over quarter declines, not good. Deliveries. So this would be amazing to get anywhere into this $2 area. So 247, I'm offering right now. Here I'm offering everywhere. Let's just see it break 250. I'm not going to get off this trade until it breaks 250. So, this will be a $2 or $3 winner or loser at some point if it gets into this area. But we'll probably watch it very, very closely off the open. For me, this would be the pop and fade play for the open. So sometimes, we'll wait for Nvidia or AMD. We'll let it sort of trade out. Tesla does, as Neil mentioned, has huge runs off the open up and then straight down again. So let's just try to play with what we want to, and that's this area to go short. If we miss it and it starts to go, then I think you're going to, and this is where you sort of got to, we talk about like that sort of sense of where the market's going. This is what the market's doing right now. We're starting to fade out. Tesla's been a weak trade. So to me, this 243 right here is an area that we look to break. So off the open, if this continues to go down and we're unable to take this, this is probably a smash for at least $1. We take off 50% of the trade for $1, and then you see if we want to hold that 240 area. So Tesla, to me, is a short today.
All right, let's go on to semiconductor land here. We're trying to bounce right now. Still up 1.8% for Nvidia getting the Dow 30 nod. This is happening quickly. I was just reading as well. Coming up, they'll trade. Intel coming out, if you missed it, Nvidia going in, they'll trade day one, Friday morning. So Thursday at the close, the change is going to be made here.
Yeah, so this ends the 25-year tenure for Intel in the Dow. It's not the only adjustment that's going to be made. It looks like Sherwin-Williams as well going to be going into the Dow and removing the chemical manufacturer Dow Inc. Okay, sure. We'll keep an eye on that. We'll also keep an eye on the fact that, yes, Intel is the lowest price stock right now in the Dow, dropping 54%, I guess, since the beginning of the year. And specifically, there was really no specific headline today for Intel, but I was telling you off camera that Patty G was on Yahoo Finance, basically saying that he hadn't seen 1 penny from the CHIPS Act from actual funding, but the tax benefits have been able to find their way to him.
Yeah. Big change regardless here, guys, for not only Intel, but the space, I think, as well.
Yeah, I think it's going to mean for some people that still track the Dow, which obviously there are some, you're just going to own more Nvidia, and it's obviously positive for Nvidia. For Intel, not so good. And I think, look, Nvidia hasn't had the greatest volatility. You take out like a couple of days last week, and up at this top, since we failed the high and we got to 144 in Nvidia, it had been sleepy for a few days. And then you had Thursday and Friday, which was, Thursday, big drop down. Friday, I kind of like the stair step on Friday. It could have closed better than it did on Friday, no questions asked. But I like the stair step, like prior resistance turned into support here, just about that 135 zone, and then you blasted higher. The gap up here with a catalyst, I want to look at that prior high, which lines up with that dip bottom 137. First look 137. Like there's a top, there's support. You did fall away on Thursday, but it's almost like that day doesn't happen when you immediately start to recover it. So yeah, 137 and then previous close. I'm only looking long on Nvidia today. I think there's some buyers that are going to emerge themselves this week going into Thursday's event. Not event, I should say. Thursday's edition, then effective on Friday. Intel, well, it was a sell at $23.50 on Friday 3 times. I can't imagine with a negative catalyst that it would be anything different. It's a bit diddling in the middle here, underneath $23. But I mean, you saw it triple top on Friday when it tried to break out. And there were some good long trades post earnings for Intel, no question about it. Like if you bought dips into 2250, you bought dips on VWAP on Friday, you were winning. But it got up to $23.50, and that was a brick wall. So how could there be a brick wall, and then you get bad news, and it busts through? That doesn't make sense to me. I think Intel's a short at 23.5.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I was sort of going to, again, I don't know, it might be range bound today for this name, but I was just looking at Intel, and I was like, you know what, that quarter, because I was thinking about getting into some Intel. I mean, it was a good quarter. We had a nice move up here. This is going to be a daily chart, so I got to zoom in a little bit more just to get the full look here, because there is no split involved here. That's actually what happened. I like the long down here, and I like it at $22. So for me, this has been a nice little shelf here. Doesn't seem to want to break it. So I'm going to go this way with it. I'm talking long on Intel. I think 22 to 22.5, that should be long area as the Dow Jones news comes in. I think it hits it to the downside. They did have a solid quarter, so I'm trying to watch out Intel on the dip buy. So that's what we had wrote down here was actually the number one idea, 22.25 there, long area. And the reason why is, again, I like the quarter. You could see the market is not, I mean, Neil just mentioned 23 short. I mean, that's right where we're at right now. So the market's kind of telling you, all right, well, maybe there is something to the fact that, hey, we knew Intel was going to get kicked out, right? I mean, it's down 58% this year. You know, Nvidia's up 178%. Makes sense that was going to happen. We talked about part of the reason why Nvidia split, so on and so forth. Now they join Microsoft and Apple, and they kick out Intel into the Dow Jones. So I like this stock. If we can get weakness in the name, I'm a buyer of Intel, and I already have bids here at 2250s. I might even move these higher, 2275 or so. I like the long here on Intel. It's going to be, and there it goes, breaking through 23. Maybe we should have got long before we talked about it. But there it goes, nice move on Intel. I'm here for dip buy opportunities. I don't know if I like it enough to the market's down and going down, and this is going completely the other way. So for me, it's a long. We wrote that down there an hour ago. It continues to be right, I guess, as there goes Intel now up to 23.15. I guess we should have been long in the pre, right? But sometimes we get those areas and sometimes we don't. So I'm going to put a bid now, 22.75, pre-market low. If we dip down into there, we're going long and we're going longer as we approach that 22 level. I love it there, but you might have missed it.
Narrower.
Yeah. We were just talking about the AI glasses that are in the works from both Meta and Snap. I mean, not for sale yet, or won't be for sale, but interesting. Anyways, let's talk about Apple here. Right back to Friday's low, the aftermarket low, going back to earnings last week as well from Apple, 221, trying to hold right now. Berkshire further reducing their position in both Apple and BAC. Historically high cash levels, I think, is the bigger headline for BRK.B at this point after these sales.
Huge cash levels, Brendo. He's holding over $300 billion in cash. Let's talk about the offloading of some shares, and then we'll talk about why possibly he's doing this. Fourth consecutive quarter of reductions for Apple stock in Berkshire Hathaway, so down now about 67.2% from last year by the end of September, which is when our figures are accurate here. He held about $70 billion in Apple share. That's about 300 million shares total, but a big drop from what he held a year ago. The motivations behind the sale remain speculative. Some people, just guessing that the valuations for Apple are high. Some other people looking or saying that he needs to diversify. But one little tidbit he did drop during the shareholder meeting in May was his concern about how unrealized profits, unrealized capital gains are going to be taxed in the next potential administration. So some commentators saying maybe he's getting ahead of that, realizing those gains before they're taxed at a higher marginal rate. So we'll keep an eye on Berkshire.
These are the top 5, meanwhile, as of the end of September quarter for Berkshire. Now, AXP takes over number 1. We have Apple still 69.9 billion, Bank of America all the way down to 31.7. That was just massively higher at one point, Coca-Cola and Chevron still. But yeah, historic cash levels for Berkshire at this point.
I mean, maybe he knows something.
He's known stuff before.
There's nothing wrong with getting into cash.
Yeah, you know what? Like, he's definitely made some timely decisions and had the benefit of a great foresight. Let's leave it at that. When looking at like pop and fades today, like Apple had a wall at 223 in the afternoon on Friday. It's not really a wall. It triple topped up there at the 223 level. We know that this has pulled back since challenging the all-time high. It lost a 50-period moving average. So like I would feel like normally, like this is what I mean. Like it was above VWAP, but essentially 223 was where the money fills were if you were trying to short this thing on Friday. And it looks like a continuation. But when I look at the other, like Amazon and Tesla for pop and fades, and I feel like Amazon has the earnings 200 level above it, and I feel like Tesla, has some catalyst this morning, and it's got bigger levels up there. So I don't know that Apple pop and fade, which would be a similar thesis, is going to be a trade of priority for me. Not when there's a couple of other Mag 7 names that I have the same look for. So probably not a trade for me. But on Friday, if you looked at 223 and we're just scalping off of that, you got half a day out of it to do it effectively a couple of times, and maybe you had one more shot at it late. It's going to be a pass for me on Apple. Other names I like for pop and fade better.
Yeah, I have. I do have Apple on here, 223. So for me, Apple, I just wrote down here that again. Now, the market coming back in, this name, we know the negative catalyst, right? I got to clear up that little wick that just happened there. The earnings were not well received. So for me, it was a pretty easy play. We just want to go short anywhere here. 223, we get back to the close, great. But again, this was all easy to come when it was at 221.50 and so on and so forth. Now you're breaking through this bottom. Apple might be a sell the whole way. I'm not going long Apple, man. I think Apple is a buy in and around 210-ish. We'll see if we can get down there. I think once you get to 210, then I think you can back up the truck a little bit there, just like Amazon 170, so on and so forth. There's going to be key levels. This is a good one here for Apple. Forget about the 200 period, right into here. That's where I think Apple goes. This is what it's been doing last week. It's not been well received. Amazon and Google, really the only two names that were up last week off of their report. Apple, not impressed enough. The Apple Intelligence, I guess people not really commenting too much about it. I haven't really heard anything there. So, yeah, not great. I did look up because I was starting to buy some Berkshire over the last little while, and I looked it up. The last 20 years, the S&P 500 has gone up 633%. Berkshire has gone up 703% in the same period. So it is outperforming. and it's relatively equal over the last 10 years. So that goes back 20, and then I did it the last 10 to see if sort of the weighting in Apple and all that stuff would have affected it. And it brought it closer because the S&P, of course, is so heavily weighted with Apple as well. So it was about, I forget what it was, annually 12% or something like that over the last 10 years. And that was for both S&P and for Berkshire. So yeah, interesting there to see that they're getting lower and lower. Only 69 million or billion shares? Like, I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous, the amount that they still in there. But Apple continues to make, make lower lows as we look on the daily. So I'm going to be shorting Apple.
I mean, you and I were just saying as well, the Vision Pro experiment, I guess, it seems to have, disappeared very quickly. No one even talking about that at this point. So yeah, more to come, more to watch out for. Here's a SMCI. I wanted to zoom out just to give you a visual feel here. This is pre-market right now, 2381. We're basically at the low of this area from November 2023. So the entire move now gone, as we were talking about going back to the end of last week, on SMCI right back to 2023 levels.
So they entered into a really interesting agreement on Friday here with one of their main creditors, Cathay Bank. It's the third amendment to their agreement, and here's what they did amend. So the fiscal year-end statements that were due on October 28th are now going to be due December 31st, 2024. Likewise, with the fiscal quarter-end balance sheet, that's all going to be due on New Year's Eve of this year. But the biggest part to this amendment is the requirement that SMCI keep $150 million in unrestricted cash at all times for this new agreement to be effective. If they don't, it's a breach, and Cathay can basically divest from it. So we'll have to keep an eye, see if they can get out of trouble here. Already down 4 1/3.
Yeah. If you missed it last week, the auditor saying they want nothing to do with SMCI, based specifically off what Sharif was mentioning, financial reporting practices going back to a couple of years ago. So more downside at the end of the day here, guys, for SMCI.
I mean, until the report comes in and it shows you that it can bounce, it's a short till it's not. That's the best way to think about it, at least. Underneath 25 is just monstrous. For it to get, it's now turned into like, wow, this is wild, this is crazy, to it's just actually, it's pretty sad at this point. Hopefully, this doesn't end in the absolute worst. That said, there was a bit of a pivot spot here. It'll be tough to tell because of the scaling, but you had a 27 bottom on Thursday, and then a 27 at the open kind of held, and then in the afternoon session, or at least second part of the day, you had 27 end up as a resistance spot. So it was kind of a support to resistance there. I think underneath that price, you look for the pop and fade on SMCI. Like I said, short till it's not. It should be a continuation SSR still. So there's probably going to be some decent bounces in it that I think you got to wait around for. And I just wanted to get to a super chat here. It was from Ian. Ian Rispetto, thank you for the super chat. What are you thinking about Viking, VKTX? Was thinking of buying long hold like Neil. So yeah, we mentioned this on Friday. We mentioned this probably a couple times last week, actually. I own Viking in my personal account, and they did have another positive look for their oral, and it was actually sold heavily. So I know it's up 6% today, but this was up like 3 times this in the pre-market, and a lot of people were taking profit up and above that this big $80 level there on the daily. So once it was out and about and above that, there was a lot of profit taking coming back in here. I like the trend. I think you're looking here for a little bit of a takeout as well. Like, that's one of the reasons that I like it, is that they're definitely a takeout target, but you are getting a little bit extended from earnings. If you're just trading it as a day trade, it's much different than, I want to buy and hold this for a longer period of time. If you're trading it for a day trade, I never like things that, let me just, still on SMCI there. I never love something that gaps up and pulls the entire move back as a day trade. Because then a lot of times at the open, I'm looking for selling to come in here. So as a day trade, I'm not really thinking about the long, but in the long term, I'm looking at them as a potential takeout target. That's why I like VKTX, and obviously the oral is tremendous for GLP. I mean, that's what's needed, and that's why you're going to see Novo be a little bit embattled here because of what Viking's able to do.
Yeah, I was just looking. Great year for Viking Therapeutics. Last November, $9. Today, $80. So keep that in mind, of course. But yeah, great name, and things have changed in this space, so I like it. Yeah, I mean, you know, this is what it looks like. Just continues to go lower here. We just sort of gapped a little bit there from 25. It wasn't a gap, of course, but straight there, breaking through $25. We brought this to you live when it was happening, and it's been pretty nasty since then. We were live on the air, and it was right around earlier than this, but whoosh. And since then, man, it is just take your shots and then ask questions later, and those questions will come tomorrow. So for me, SMCI, yeah, I mean, it's going to still be pay for shorts, I assume. You got to break through this 25. We already did that. That's going to be a very key level down there, and we're getting through it right now. So for me, SMCI, I probably won't be on it. I mean, I like Intel. We talked about that space. Looking around there, I have IBIT. And then we won't get to this now because we're going to talk, I mean, we'll talk about IBIT in a second. But Palantir, we only have 5 minutes left. I think loose hands lets this stock go today. I mean, they're going to report, and tomorrow we're going to see that result. Palantir's a funny company. Like, sometimes they'll announce contracts and go down, you know. I don't think Alex Karp is going to sandbag anything. I mean, the numbers are going to be what they are. It's just you are really, really well performing to the upside. You were trading at about 30 times sales. We're going to see what those sales numbers are exactly and then maybe get reevaluated here. But Palantir wants to go higher. It's just as the market pulls back, people find areas where the stock is run up. You know the second best performing stock in the S&P 500 this year? Palantir. Number one, Nvidia. Nvidia up 178%. Palantir this year up 140%. This is a company that people didn't even know existed last year. So just be careful with it. It's a huge name. I told you I sold some. I thought it was around 43, 44, but it was right at one of those even dollars. Still continues to come down. And when I say sold some, maybe like 5%. Let's just see what happens here with Palantir. I am nervous with it. I wrote it down on the sticky note, 42 sell. So if we can get back into the close, let's just see what it does. I'm not sitting there with any offers, but it's going to be on the radar if we get back up into here. I just feel that it's just one of those things, man. If they don't put up a number, this thing could be down 20% tomorrow, honestly. So just be careful with it. They did get that bump up with the S&P 500 inclusion. Now you got to be careful with it. So Palantir here looking to put up and hopefully shut up all the bears that have been here over the last week.
A couple minutes to go here quickly. We'll get through crypto. As we said, to kick things off this morning, it's all Michael Noss's fault. Back downside here to the tune of about 1%. A kid, obviously. $40 for IBIT. Unable to hold on Friday. We're gapping even lower here along with the rest of equities in this space. We were just talking about MicroStrategy a little bit there and the opposing differences between friend of the show, Peter Schiff, and Michael Saylor.
Yeah, they're both interested in whatever, one's crypto, one's gold. So we'll just let them be. All right, guys, below 69,000 we're trading right now on BTC, and that resulted about a $350 million in market liquidations. About 260 million of those were long positions, and 90 and change were short. It is the largest liquidation on Bitcoin that we've had since the 25th of October. Obviously, with the election coming up, the crypto market in general favors Donald Trump, who's pledged crypto-friendly policies, like specifically firing SEC Chair Gary Gensler. Harris, by contrast, has proposed a more cautious regulatory approach to crypto. But some crypto traders, Brendo, they're predicting a 10% move in either direction once the election is decided, up or down. We're going to have to wait and see. But yeah, already down 1%.
Volatility to come at the end of the day. I'm just reading a note here. Facebook's Meta plans to use AI to identify young users on Instagram who are lying about their age and automatically switch them into a more restrictive policy. That's from Bloomberg. So, Ramin, you're in trouble.
What? Ramin's not in any trouble. Bitcoin moved 10% from the highs, from that all-time high test break. So I don't think that's anything too crazy if it goes another 10% from here, either direction. Like, basically, that's either a test of the high or a retest of support down at, like, I guess 60,000 further than 10%. So right now, you're underneath 70,000. The breakout obviously did not really continue on it. I got Mara up here. As long as we don't crack those prior highs, like 69 change and then 70,000, those levels, I was looking pop and fade on Mara, but I had 16.5 written off. You're underneath $16. Might have to change that plan if we don't get anywhere near that 16.5. I thought we could go pop and fade on a few names here today, but might have to be a little bit more patient when it comes tomorrow. There were a few sell imbalances. I don't know if they're still around there. Palantir is still 500,000. Nvidia is still 240,000 to the sell side there. So a couple of sell imbalances overall. But I'll have to be patient when it comes to looking for that Mara short. It's nowhere near the level I like. Maybe some Amazon off the open could be the first one to pop up for fade.
Yeah, go have a quick look here. I wrote down iBid here, $39 to $40. You know, $39.50 is where I want to see the trade right here for iBid. I mean, we've talked about this again. I just watched the 70K level. It is starting to move there. I didn't actually know what Sharif. We only got 20 seconds right now, Miss Adara, and I didn't realize that it priced in maybe as a 10% move. That could be pretty nice. You hit that way too early, man.
What?
Yeah, we still got like 8 seconds left.
3, 2.
No. No. Oh, okay.
My clock's.
Yep, you're right. Mine is wrong. And I just rebooted my computer.
Shoot, yeah.
Okay, I'm into something right now. What just happened there? All right, so Intel with the drop down. We're in a little bit. Let's take a little bit out there. Nice trade to start the day here on Intel, 2260s. We're long now. This is exactly as it was written. We're doing it again right now. Again, big trade here. We waited at 22.50. It's what we wrote down. We get that long off of that little flush off the early push. So there it is. Long again. Double barrel longs coming in right away for Intel. I'm like, huh? That happened quickly. So there it goes. We'll long the name here. I like the trade. We're already out of 35% of Intel right here long at 22.70.
A good look there. Tesla's going up.
Came in quickly.
So it is. Tesla just got through 245. Let's be patient with it. We like a pop and fade. 247. Excuse me, the level that we're going to like has to hold above 45 if we're going to get anywhere close. Nvidia does, not much off of the open there. Amazon did not pop up to get us into a short position. Nvidia now starting to go off this 137 level. Would like to see maybe another retest of the low. You're still in that opening thrall, and the buyers aren't exactly having this thing fly away. Amazon can't even get up to 198. Looks like it just failed exactly at 197. If we come back up here and fail 97 again, going to look short off that first even dollar. Might not even get the second at this rate as the market's starting to come back in here. Want to make sure we get some Amazon to the south side next pop.
All right, let's figure out what we're doing here. So we got a nice little 25-cent winner now on Intel as we wait for that. Yeah, that Tesla was a nice pop-up in there at 246. We wrote down start that thing at 247. Come on, Intel. Like, we just got some more out there. 90-something, 90s, sorry, 83s was my last offer. I am offering right now 23 flat. So we did just get another fill as we came back up to the upside there, 83s like I mentioned. So now let's get going. We just stopped at 23. Oh man, 22.97 is where we're sitting at. Let's check out our good friend Palantir here. Welcome to the show, everybody. Make sure you do, hello.
Wow,
we did
Tesla.
want the pop and fade there. Tesla popped and now is dropped. I mean, it's exactly, oh, that sucks, man. It's exactly what we both wrote down here, but you got to get the right prices. And there goes Tesla right to the 200 period. Could have been shorted easily, but was not as the market continues to do its little dance here. Up and down. I mean, the NASDAQ starts with a downside push. I'm going to move this over so you guys can see. Down now 0.26. Let's just go check out Apple. That was another name that we talked about possibly fading out today. I wrote down 223. Nice move to the upside. It got to 222.50 and now falling back in. So Intel's turning red right here on my trade. We're still up on it. We are out of 45% of this, but I want to get more. So we'll wait to see if it does come back into 22.50. Let's buy a little bit more down here of Intel.
Oh, DJT just blasted to the upside. So that's going. At least there's some movement here in DJT. I'm not chasing this move. I was looking fade at 33, so we'll let it get up to that particular price. Obviously, I'm moving the target a little bit on Amazon to be able to get into some kind of a short off that 36 level. But it's Nvidia that's actually holding up pretty well here. So Nvidia holding 137 a second time. I wanted to see it retest that low. Now it's engaged off this 137. Let's see if we can get in, give it to the local bottom here. This is one of the few plays I actually like to the long side today. Everything else is going to be a short. As I said, we have to move the target a little bit there on Amazon if we're going to be able to get it. Now trying to get VWAP. Amazon can't even get above VWAP. I'm still waiting in front of 197. I'm not going to move down until we maybe make a test of that low of the day. Tesla might want 240 before we even get a pop. So this is another one. We wanted it short, but I guess VWAP at 243 comes into play if we bounce off 240. There's really not that much to work with here until we get to VWAP on Tesla, now that you're so far to the downside. Wow.
Yeah, we're, new trade alert, we're into Tesla. So we're at 242 short here. We just took some out at 241.50. Let's wait a little bit lower. We only took out a third there, so this trade still might not work. I just remembered that we had said, hey, if we don't get that pop, we should take the pre-market break, which was 243.50. So we missed this one by about $1.50 just because we were looking over there at Intel, which is still fine. We're still in Intel, but should have been shorter on Tesla. Should have been short right there on Tesla. That was the trade that we talked about. It was a trade that we wrote down. But I'll be fine and do it right now. If it does pop up, we're here to take more. So hopefully that will come in, and we are bidding 241. So here it goes right now. We're short right now at 242 on Tesla. It's printing us 50 cents in the money. We've already taken out a third of this trade. Let's see if it can get a little bit lower for us on that one. Intel coming back in just a little bit as the market, of course, retraces as well. We'll buy a little bit more Intel down here, but it's Tesla that's on my mind. And then we'll have to look back at Apple, Palantir, iBit moving down, as you can see. Oh, no.
SMCI.
Yeah, crypto going to the downside. All right, what's up, Adara?
Cannabis stocks like CGC, Canopy Growth, on watch with volume this morning. CGC are up about 8%. What I'm seeing is there's been this move, a little bit attributed to a tweet last night from Democratic presidential nominee Kamala Harris. The picture says legalize recreational marijuana. Tweet basically saying that Kamala Harris does support the legalization of recreational marijuana so that all Americans can succeed in the new industry. Quote, CGC also reports on Friday, so it's going to be on watch with that as well. ACB, Aurora Cannabis, another name in this space. They have earnings on Wednesday morning, so keep an eye on cannabis-related stocks as well as their ETF MSOS, guys.
Wah, wah, wah.
Yeah, watch out for MSOS. That's like there's a host of names and a host of, I mean, whether we talk about solar, whether we're talking specifically about EVs, there's a host of names that are going to be affected tomorrow. But that's a tomorrow thing, a tomorrow night thing. Amazon just got underneath VWAP and failed. I took a short underneath 196, but I want money fills above this. Yeah. 196.5 is the lower high here, and I want to get money fills above that. So as it goes back above, we'll look to be able to add there. Nvidia tried to hold
the market.
We had the higher low back through 137, but once it broke that level, we just immediately got out. Tesla's now down. It's gone. 240 now on Tesla is it's absolutely flushing to the downside. We don't have SMCI short, but it is actually popping through 25 in here. So SMCI with a bit of an SSR bounce.
Oh boy.
If we fail that pre-market high there, 25.40, I still want to look shorting pops on that. But the market heading precipitously to the downside.
The Dollar Club went to the club this Friday. We weren't here, but we're back. And now it's $2 now on Tesla. There it goes, man. I mean, we indicated when we took this trade against us. There it goes to the downside right now. We have a third, a little bit more than a third left, about 33% left now on Tesla. Good outs down there, 239.70s as we get to the downside there. But not all is rosy, because as the market continues to go downside, and all we've written down here today was short iBit, short Apple, short long Intel, short Tesla, short Palantir. Whoa. So we were very, very
short,
biased short, but yet we sit here long right now on Intel. But this was the long idea, and of course, when the market comes down, these are the ideas that hit. And we had written down here 22.25 for Intel. Well, guess where we're at? 22.25. So hopefully, if you like those levels, well, they came in. So maybe now if you were short, this could be a covering area for us. But it is now almost $3 right now in the money now on Tesla. As we take another piece out, we just got a piece out on that bottom side there for Tesla. 239.50 we just got it out at. So that was $2. Okay, I'm going to put another bid here at 239 flat and make it that $3 winner right now. Put out 20% more of what we had. And again, it's simple trading, man. This is what we're trying to do here every day. Simple trades, right? This was a short. Bad Chinese numbers, was short to begin with the day, simple trade. I complicated this trade, I feel like, a little bit here with Intel. And, you know, that was just going to be trying to go counter what I thought would happen with the Dow, which is kind of funny because, like, Nvidia's not going up, obviously. It's going down. Intel's going down. All the chip names seem to be going down right now. So Dow Jones related, unaffected right now to that. Wow, we just got that. We just took that $3 winner right there. So welcome to the show, man. I hope that, you know, if you're looking for longer trades, bigger positions, things like that, there it was right there. That's Tesla. That was a good one. For now, we still wait for Intel. Intel is, we might go 1 for 2 here, waiting for that. Oh, man, I like the Amazon there, but I do not like what the market's doing, down 0.6 right now.
Getting ugly.
Come on, market. We are out of 80%, just under now. We have about 25% left of Tesla. What's up, Adara?
I'm just seeing this headline come across on social media. Keep an eye on Chinese ADRs, as Bloomberg apparently reporting that the Premier Li Qiang saying that China is seeking more foreign investment. So China looking for foreign investment. Keep an eye on some of these Chinese ADRs, as well as names like KWeb and FXI. Now, we also have Nuwellis on watch, NUWE. This is a small cap company, market cap of just over $2 million, a float of 1.12 million shares, 30% which is sold short. So pretty big short float here and small float market cap for NUWE. After the close on Friday, it announces preliminary results, which were pretty well received. They also this morning said they're going to be increasing the reimbursement rate for one of their therapies from $413 to $1,639 per day. So reimbursement rate increase, and its preliminary earnings at a pretty small short float with NUWE has run in the past and up over 100% right now, guys.
Ooh. So yeah, the only thing I'm in right now is Amazon off of VWAP here. It just, like I said, at the open, you know, it didn't really pop as far as we might have thought it would have. Got under 97. Now it's failing just above 196s. So pre-market lows are pretty much gone, and you have 195.40 as this little bit of a wick bottom. So I want to keep shorting the pops into VWAP here on Amazon with an idea that the bigger picture, if we go back to the earnings day, 194 was kind of support on Thursday after market on the earnings. So I want to be looking at that level. Mara is another one that's just gone. In terms of looking for a short trade on Mara, you can't short the pop. If there's never any pop to short. So Mara down 3%. Thought that Bitcoin would be a nice little retracement play, but I guess VWAP will look to join the trend if we're going to continue trend down. VWAP sits in here 1575. I'll look for some kind of a VWAP retracement on this name. Nvidia is doing its absolute best to recover here. The 137. Look at that V-shaped recovery almost on Nvidia. If it can hold that 137, that's the level I like. So show me some support at that price, hold VWAP, and I can go back over to this for a long trade. But we want to stick with the weak names, still want to be waiting around for our patient short. But Nvidia, if we can hold 137, this is still something I'm looking for a long trade on. Only took one shot at it, lost about 25, 30 cents, and we'll look to take another. But it has to hold above 137. Otherwise, we wait for 135.
I mean, that's the idea, right? I mean, to lose 25 or 30 cents on Nvidia, I mean, that's just like a sneeze. So that was, and, you know, you could always
sneeze.
Can get a lot worse. That is for sure. All right, so we just covered a little bit more there on Tesla as we did bounce back up. But honestly, like that move down was pretty darn good. And I was just thinking about like, where exactly are these levels that we're talking about? The problem is we gapped up on those earnings, right? So it was a big one. And there's the gap there on earnings. So I don't really know where we could fall into. I mean, if we break this 238.25, this is sort of that level. Actually, I guess it's 238. That little level right there to come back in, that could be something. And again, it's just the way our charts are. Like this is a gap there. So we'll wait to see. It looks like that fill on the close was 235, 234. So I think as an area of interest for that would be what we're trying to talk about right now. I only have right now 15% left. Maybe even a little bit less than that on Tesla. But you know what's coming back up right now? So we're fine on, we haven't done, like this was big, getting out there early. When that fell in right off the open and we were able to get 50s there and then get them out right there off, and that was sort of the rebalancing off the open. That gave us a lot of great opportunities to get out. And I told you we were out of a third, then we were out of 45%, and then this happened. I mean, it fell right down in. You know what we wrote down here? 22.25 long on Intel. You know where it went to? It went to 22.17 and now is up 30 cents from there. So we're long right here, 22.54. I did take out a little piece right there. I took out about 10% as we came back up here, nervous about this 50 level. Let's see if it can fly now. Intel back through 22.50. Again, if you're a sticky note trader right there, then floss it off right now. That's 50 cents, 25 cents in the money on Intel, and a big one hopefully for you on Tesla as well. IBIT starting to go to the downside. We had written down a short here. As again, crypto, I'm glad to hear what Sharif said, that there was some traders predicting 10% one way or the other on that. So that kind of justifies looking at IBIT today again. So I wanted 39-ish short. We wrote down 39.50 as sort of the top there. We did get to that in the pre-market. I don't know the exact level matching with 70. Probably I can ask ChatGPT or something like that, or just overlay them. But I was just looking at it and saying, these levels right into here, man, 39.50. I just thought that would have been a good spot to short if we got back up into there. So I'm still sitting there as well. And then I'll throw it back to Neil in a second. I just wanted to see what Palantir was doing. So again, I'm trying to be very specific. I have written on here, IBIT, Intel, Tesla, Palantir, Apple. So we're in Tesla. Tesla's a big one. So that's a bang. Intel, I'm actually up. I'm up pretty decently on Intel, even if I covered everything right now. But I believe this name goes higher, so we're going to hold on to this one. And then the other name would be Apple. So I know you're only in Amazon. Well, I guess you can cover.
We're out of Amazon because Amazon broke that pre-market. It's not the pre-market high, but 196.50 was the high right before the open at 912. So I'm out of it there. We did have it under VWAP a couple times to scalp trade it out, but we'll end up taking the hit on the reload. Now waiting for that 198 level. If we break out the top at 197, 198 was the first spot that we're looking short. I am in Mara off of VWAP for the first time in here, but before I get there, I want to show Nvidia. That V shape on Nvidia is just continuing to go. So you're above VWAP. You're trying to break 138. The market just made a real nice bounce off of Friday lows at 20,000. That's a 20,000 even bounce. I mean, you got to look for some longs in here. Nvidia was the one I liked. They're getting added to the Dow, which is obviously not a bad thing. So I want to see a pullback, ideally a pullback into VWAP before it takes out the 138 level, and we can re-engage a long here in Nvidia. Still battling with this 138 as we speak. Where is Tesla? Tesla's getting into.
Tesla's making a move back up.
Why was I sitting 43s? It's at VWAP is right here at 42. Oh, I know why I had an offer at 43, because it broke down. Never mind. So anyways, Tesla getting to VWAP in this 242. I want to look to fade this into that prior pre-market low, which is at that 43. Just got to be patient with that long on Nvidia. I don't want to chase it all the way up at that 138 level, but we're looking for Tesla to start curling here around VWAP and into the 243 level. Then I'll try to get into it for the first time here today. Still down 3%. Still looks relatively weak compared to most of the market. 20,000 bounce, got a nice reprieve, but I don't think this one's off the hook by any stretch of the imagination. A little low rumble there.
Yeah. Okay. So I reshorted, and we weren't able to get out there, although it did go 50 cents to the money. We did reshort here at 242 on on Tesla. So I am bidding. I'm going to get out if this breaks 242 quarters, just letting everybody know that, just to see what winds up happening there. Because here we go right back up to the upside. So we break higher, we're gone. We're not. We'll give back 10% maybe. There it is. So 10% given back there on that Tesla trade. All good for me on that one as we take that out. Because you know what? Why it's all good? Because Intel just ripped back up to the upside there. We take some Intel out at VWAP. It's still not all good. I mean, we'd like to definitely have, the winners rather than the losers, but still a nice move there on Intel, battled that back. So we'll go 2 for 2. I mean, I never like to see, us or obviously anybody lose on trades, but this Amazon, I think Neil's got, the right idea. We just need to wait for some levels to come in. And I think it was good shot there.
198's got
right, exactly. Like I think it's a good shot early. It's still red. It's still redder than the market. So I think that's something. Oh yeah, as if Tesla. As if. Okay. So Tesla goes basically to our level, gets us out, which was pretty much 30 cents higher than VWAP. So I gave it. I didn't tap out right away. I'm pretty confident and happy with what we did there. But it did take us out, and that's life of a trader, right? Tesla's obviously here. I'll go 2 for 2 right now, and Tesla is still my best trade. But look, we just did get stopped out there, and I did not reload a full position. I only reloaded 2/3 of that, but that's a good one. And it's too bad now because we only got out of something up there. We got out of about 20% of our intel at VWAP. And for all the traders out there, I'm putting another offer at VWAP again because I don't want to see that happen, and then I'll be upset if it comes back. So let's put another, this time let's put 10% up there at VWAP. Hopefully we'll get that fill. And yeah, nice one there, Tesla. That was a good one. We'll have to watch some SMCI and whatnot as we go. But
and
I
DJT
see
too.
You're in the Tesla short as well with me now, and then the Mara short. So 68.3 right now on Bitcoin. What's up, A?
Fuel Cell Energy, FCEL. This is a penny stock. It's near days highs here, up about 10%, trading around the 38-cent level. It's worth noting here, we've got about a 22.4% short float. This company was also on watch on Friday when it announced the approval of a debt refinancing agreement. No news today, but a good amount of social media attention. And again, the 22% short float to be aware of here for FCEL, guys.
Wow.
38 cents, but up 10%.
Wow. I didn't even know Fuel Cell FCEL was that bad. Just two things.
Come on.
Tesla just bounced again off VWAP. So I had it short when it came back underneath 242.
Oh, man.
Got some out in front of 241, and then I had it my stop here at the local high 242.25. Actually, it was 242.50. We reloaded at 42 a second time, and then it just blew out the top. So Tesla still very much on the way up. Going into that pre-market low, we'll look for the curl. I'm still only looking short on it. Mara did just make its way back down into 15.5. So looking for VWAP fills if we can catch them on Mara. Bitcoin overall, I'm going to put a 15-minute chart up. As you can see, kind of like it broke down underneath 68.5 and is very slowly holding underneath. So as long as we're trending down, want to still look to the Mara short, which for now is still working. Nvidia did not give us VWAP for an entry into the long. Yeah, not even that close, Nvidia. For VWAP in there. Would have been nice, but it got to 137.5. You got a couple of wicks, but no 137s. I guess NVIDIA just wants to break out this top. So if we don't get fills down around 137 even, then we're going below at the top. It's the only one I liked long today that I can, yeah, it is what it is. It's the only one I like long today. We had one shot. I guess we'll take a breakout at 138 if we don't get any dip into VWAP next.
22.30, okay. All right, so we only have the two positions here today. They've both been winning trades. We'll have to wait to see if we can add to them. I'm going to put another bid down here near 223. Actually, I put it at 30. All right, we'll take it there. But I mean, I think if we can get into 30s, we probably get into 20s. So let me put a little bit more down there as well. I'm not trying to die on the Intel sword here or anything like that. We're up on the stock. I kind of like the setup. If we can pull back in, I think if the NASDAQ wants to hold, we should be okay. Apple there was probably a short, and I just didn't have it in me. I'm waiting for more short opportunities to show up for Tesla. Up in that 243 will start it into 244 if that could happen. If there's any other names you guys want. Nvidia right now, we can look at, I said we look at SMCI. All right, so let's do that. SMCI right now, another name that you guys are looking at. Also DJT, we'll look at that in a second there. 26, okay, so a huge move up for SMCI, really. I mean, no red candles, right? Up to 26.25. We'll have a look at what that means on the 20-minute chart. Obvious levels, I would say 27 if we get there. You could try it in front. And we're gonna throw to Adair in just 1 second. I just want to check in on the temperature over here. So DJT, nice move early, man. It went green up to 32.50. Then there's a nice drop. So this is a good level for Donald Trump Jr. here. Donald J. Trump. Not Trump Jr. Right there, 29.50. We've fallen back into the 200 period. We liked this level early, not we, the stock. And if it's going to hold it, I think this is a good opportunity to get long in this name against a supported level down there in and around 29. All right, there it is, man. We're short Tesla again. So, okay, we are not reloaded, but it is a new position. We'll see if some money can come back in for Tesla. Stop area up here, breaking the 200 period, breaking through there, 244.50 or so, and we're out of Tesla if we're wrong. Dara?
Keep an eye on Lumen Technologies, LUMN. So far, all of these 3-minute candles since open have more or less been green with the exception of one. Lumen Technologies, no news on this, but this one ran quite a bit back in the summer. They report earnings after the bell tomorrow, and they have a 7% short float, guys.
Lumen.
Yeah. Lumen.
I was waiting for that one when you brought up Lumen. No, and if you're not a Seinfeld fan, then I don't know what to tell you. So Mara just tagged the low again, but there's some buyers at the 16.5 level. I just took some more out there. Looking for, like, I want to see the other side of this trade on Tesla. I mean, at some point, I think you're gonna have a rollover, and it just wicked the 243. It's still going up on a little bit of strength here. Nvidia's trying to hold VWAP, not doing the best job of it, but then I remembered, hey, the other thing, we were looking at DJT selling going into the election. I thought we'd get 33 even as a big spot. Instead, it goes to 32, fails under, now VWAP at 31. So like Mara was looking pop and fade on this name as well. The market, not doing a ton. It is still down. We haven't really put any green candles on just yet on the open on that 15-minute, but it's only been one. So DJT, if it can bust VWAP, I stay away. If it fails underneath VWAP, that's a failed breakout, looking continuation short on DJT. Now, with real trading, we had to pay for locates, but they were like, I don't know, I think it was like less than a tenth.
Probably not very expensive.
Tenth of a cent or something like that on DJT. It was like very, very cheap. But we can short it.
Can.
Okay,
yeah,
but we very, very small.
Yeah, that might be, I mean, we talked about last week, we said, I got some people messaging me actually privately asking me about DJT, and I said, and they were asking me about that Wednesday, Thursday call of last week, because now it's 4 straight down days off of that call. So far, so good there for DJT if you're looking for the short. Intel didn't give us anything. Intel gave us a little bit of something, so we'll go bang. Now it's going back to the upside. So we only got out of a quarter of it down there at 70s. So it came back in, we took 30 cents on it, and now you're against us 30 cents. So not great, but I'm giving this one to 244. So 244.20s or so. If we break through that, fine. And I do want to reload it near 240s. Near 244. So let's see if it can get up there. We'll take it if it does, and then we'll work on it from there. Looking to get out of some Intel. I put a 56, I believe it was. That's what I was just doing, is double checking. So we're at 56 right now. A little bit of a bump up. That's where VWAP is. I was debating changing it, but why not? We're still there. We might as well hang out for a little bit here on VWAP with Intel. Here comes one more penny higher, and we should be able to get something out on the upside of that. I was just looking. We did buy some. I have no idea what Uber's at right now. I just came across the chart. I did buy some more at 72 flat. We talked about that on Thursday. Wasn't here on Friday. So that looks like it'll be fine for now. It just came up that it was touching VWAP, so it came up on my e-signal scanner.
Nice.
And yeah, so it is touching VWAP a little bit, but it's not really doing anything here. So not super excited about what we're seeing right there for Uber as another potential play. And then if the futures still bounce around here, I still kind of want to stay honest with my look on Apple at 223, but it is giving me some kind of ways here around 220, 250 to 222. So I'm wondering about this play right here, fade into there, and then hit it back down, especially if these futures go the other way. But we have the long in here with Intel. We just miss it by a penny or so, getting something out there. And then the short in Tesla, you know what, we can get it. Let me make another piece right here at 50s. Let it breathe a little bit to the upside there. So I'm trying to do that. It's Tesla. It's on my mind. We do have some numbers at 10.
I think there's one economic number at 10 o'clock. So in a couple of minutes, we got it's
factory orders.
I'm not terribly worried about that one, so I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. But speaking of VWAP, as you mentioned, you had an indicator. I like that VWAP indicator. I've got one. I'm going to set mine up on e-signal as well.
Good.
Oh, and then never mind. I was just about to tell you that Nvidia was holding VWAP, right? Because it was. And I had the long off the 50 level. It then goes underneath that quarter. So let's let it. I wanted either hold a VWAP or let's set up a trend trade. Cannot seem to hold on to VWAP on that initial bounce, and that was almost like on a dime the second I'm talking. But now you can work off of maybe some kind of a trend for another entry. I want to still pick my spots here if we can, but only want to buy it on that upside up through. Mara's still okay. It just wicked underneath 15.5. So here's a bit of a liquidity, I don't want to call it a liquidity grab, but a bit of a fail underneath 15.5. And then you'll see this rounded bottom that it just put in. So on that wick, I was able to get out. I'm still in about a third of it, but we're able to get a nice little piece out there in the 40s. So if we get back into VWAP, I want to stick with the VWAP retrace trade. That'll be about the mid to high 60s on Mars. We want to stay short that name. Nvidia, just going to look for it to establish maybe a better entry point to the long side of the trade. As long as we're above 20,000, I still feel like it's going to be a long. DJT doesn't want to fill anything above VWAP. It's basically hanging out here above the 30 level. I might just have to weasel in, as Sharif likes to say, under VWAP here. And if I'm going to give it to the local high instead of 31, then that just means I might 31 would have been the price I like. Just have to take less shares in this particular case because it's at 30 even. But nice consolidation lower on DJT. We're looking top, failed break, and then work underneath VWAP for the short. The only other thing I'm watching here is, I mean, Tesla's almost at the 245. This is almost a short entry for me. If this next candle had been red, I'd be going right back into the short. It just hasn't done it yet on Tesla. But it's not green. It's not above the pre-market highs, which it initially failed. So still looking for the rollover trade here on Tesla.
Okay. Yeah, we're in Tesla right now. It's starting to get a little spicy here. As we just got that fill upside right now again. Yes, sir. Let's go. We're at the freaking highest spot we've been at all day right now. We're putting Tesla on the board. Nice little move here for it. Let's get some more out as it just fades back in. There's that 244 short we're short 243.75, and we just took some out. We're getting a little excited there because we just got some, switch over to Intel, I thought we just clicked on. Hold on a second. We just got some Intel love up there. So we did get that 56. So that was a decent spot. Let's see if it can go. And so this is part of why and how we are at our day's high right now. Just waiting and being patient. Exactly what we wrote down today on the sticky note is what we're doing. It's a big, I mean, guys, it's a big one here. This is going to be hopefully an eventful day for us one more time here at Trader TV Live. And again, all these trades, I'm putting them on, discussing them, and hopefully being able to explain myself good enough as why I'm doing it, and hopefully it gives you, the opportunity and the confidence to do something similar. We wrote down here on Intel 22.25 as our best long idea for the day, our only long idea for the day, and that appears to be, as they say, printing right now. And then there's a nice little print as well. I'm actually up more on Tesla, just doing what we've been doing on this, than we are on Intel. So far so good here. All right, whenever you guys are ready, the number's out for Adara, so let's go.
First, economic data prints of the week out here. Factory orders month over month coming in at -5, above the previous print here of -8. And below, though, the consensus of 0.4%, it is in line with the forecast of -0.5. So, again, factory orders for September, -0.5% above the previous print story of -0.8. Now, factory orders minus transportation for September, actually positive here, positive 0.1%, in line with the forecast of positive 0.1%, and above the previous print of -0.2. We also got here some revised durable goods numbers. So core durable goods revised 0.5% here, sorry, versus the estimate of 0.4%. Durable goods, core, yeah, that was core. The durable goods revised number, -0.7% versus -0.8 expected. So both core and durable goods above estimates here. Also slightly above the previous number here for factory orders for September. We do have the Qs trying to push up here after falling on the open. Currently, just slightly down in the day, almost flat. We have a lot of names on watch ahead of the election. DJT is still in play. Cannabis names still in play as well after a tweet from Kamala Harris suggesting that her team supports the legalization of recreational cannabis. So keep an eye on some of these tickers. Also on watch here is Constellation Energy, down about 12% here after earnings. They beat here for their Q3 report. Their guidance for fiscal 2024 was revised up. However, it still missed analyst estimates after that Microsoft deal. Another name on watch in this nuclear space is Amazon. Over the weekend, we had a report from Bloomberg suggesting that the top U.S. energy regulator has rejected a deal that would allow Amazon to use more power from an adjacent nuclear power plant. So less AI power than necessarily expected here for AMZN, according to that Bloomberg report. We also have SMCI now up about 5% here almost, with strong volume across the board, near day's highs. We know they've been trading lower since last week when their auditor resigned. They have earnings on watch tomorrow after the close, and Friday after the close, they announced an amendment to their loan agreement. So Supermicro still on watch. What should be a pretty interesting day and week for these markets, guys.
Supermicro's day in the sun is back, apparently. Okay, fair enough. DJT, we'll get to that in a quick little second. Mara lost VWAP or gained VWAP, I suppose. So we take it a second time through at 66 and 67, but it just broke VWAP and now might pull back underneath. So if I end up getting wicked out, next candle holds underneath VWAP, we'll jump right back into it. DJT went to VWAP, broke by maybe 5 cents or so, and then flashed right back down into 30. Was able to get some at 30.40 on the other side of it. So I'm bidding in front of 30. We'll bid in front of 29.5, and then look to see if this continues trend down on DJT. But it is Mara that I feel like might have wicked us out. Like I said, if we get wicked out and we confirm that it's still a short underneath VWAP, then I'm jumping right back in. So next candle is going to be key for Mar. Right now, just in that DJT trade. Refresher at 30, it seems. Oh, never mind. That's hilarious. I looked over, there was a refresher at 30. I went to put a second bid in there, and then the second I put it in, boom, it flushed through that $30 level. We're going to put 29.5 just so we're ready to get it. DJT down only 2.5 because there was a decent bounce here off of the open. But pop and fade missed my level at 33, so we do the continuation trade off of VWAP. The same thing I'm looking for here on Mara, but it's got to hold back underneath that same VWAP.
All right.
Oh my God.
Come on, Tesla. Let's see if we get a downside push here. It did break a little bit through 244. You know, it's a 200-period moving average, so we're taking this one, man. And honestly, I like it. So let's wait to see what happens now with it. So good trade here for us on Tesla, hoping to get this fade play. And then we did have, we're still 2 for 2. We're still on these two names here, trying to massage them through a little bit here. But Intel, it got to the 50 and then stopped again. So depending on what these futures want to do, I mean, we're still in two really good positions here. Only trading these two names. Another name that I wanted to look at was DraftKings. Coming upside there again into $36. That was the other name Neil mentioned. I'll have to check to see exactly when they're reporting, but it is either tonight or tomorrow morning, or it's Tuesday, but it doesn't matter. It's either tonight or tomorrow morning. We'll find out there about DraftKings or Tuesday night. So, all right, here we go. That's what we're going to do, but Adara's over at the desk, and I'll come back to you with DraftKings. Go, Tesla.
Be aware of AZN here, AstraZeneca, about 2.5% with a nice volume spike here at 10 a.m. I'm not seeing any news on this, a little bit of social media attention, and I am seeing one tweet saying that apparently the company's obesity pill has achieved 5.8% reduction in body weight. However, huge caveat, this is a rumor. We have zero attribution as to what this news story is, and there's no link. So potential weight loss drug story for AZN, but either way, nice volume spike. If I see any hard news, I will let you guys know.
November 7th, my bad on that one. But, you know, you can a lot of chicken consumed when you're in the DraftKings app, maybe, especially if you are a fan of sports.
Wings.
But there it goes right now. It is another dollar club right there, Tesla, and we're going lower. Now $1.40 in the money. We just took another bid, man. We still got on 60 percentage point on this trade as we continue to make this move to the downside right now. So let's go. Huge move there for Tesla back into VWAP. So of course we're covering it. Ding, we did it again right there. So we don't need to do something right here, but we're doing it for you every single day. We're going to go 2 for 2 over here, and they're good stocks, man, and they're exactly what we wanted. All right, Tesla's the big one, though. I got to get out another piece here, 10% more out. Boom, right there for $1.50 on Tesla. Let's just give props up to all those short right now, Tesla, and we'll go over find out what's going on there. We've asked for a reload of coffee, so we'll see if that can come up right now. I might have to go get a water or something. But right now, we are starting to get to the downside there. Good out on Tesla. But again, the market's not.
The market's still doing not much. You got to be in the right names right now. And it's like the NASDAQ is actually holding dead flat, more or less. Okay, it's not exactly flat, but look at the inside range that we got going on here the day before the election. You did tag 20,000 off the open, but now we're just headed slowly to some pre-market resistance. You're talking 30, 40-point moves, and on a 15-minute chart, absolutely, it's kind of a nothing burger, but it is a couple of green candles for a little bit of a bounce. DJT tagged the 29.5 zone, so we did get more out there. We shorted, the last short we got was 30.37. VWAP sits in here at 60. That wick high is at 30.80. That's where I want to look for any rollover and reload opportunities. But here we are back in bouncing. And I said I want to be patient getting back into any Amazon short. Amazon didn't break 197 a second time. It's still trending higher. The market's trending higher, but no break of 197 to get a 198 short yet, I think, on Amazon. It's just a matter of time before I think we get a shot at that one. So just DJT, at least for now. But let's not forget the biggest and the baddest name out there, because Nvidia, it keeps on trying to hold VWAP. We've only had it when it's holding above 137. Now you've made a little rounded bottom underneath that 137. Well, I don't mind trying it again. It's Nvidia, but it has to start holding above that VWAP. The idea is to get one long that can take us through 38. And you only need that one shot, because then you have 37 to 38 gives you a buck, and then you try to hold some through. But the strength just isn't there. Again, they just try to hold it above 137 in VWAP, and it goes right back in. So you're seeing some selling come into this one rather heavily. So I'm keeping an eye on that one. If it can hold on to it, great. But DJT now down 2.5. My next bid, oh, wait a minute. I thought that was in front of that wick low at 40, and I was on the wrong side of it. The next one is going to be right in front of that low of the day at 42. We should get that. There we go. Just got filled in front of 29.42. Now we'll look for 29 even, and then low in the pre-market is 28. That'll be the next level to the downside on DJT, which unfortunately is bleeding before tomorrow's election.
Yeah, exactly. Again, good trade there. We had talked about trying to stay with the catalysts, and that's definitely one there. So a good little look there for that one. Okay, I mean, looking at some new names. Oh, AstraZeneca. So AZN right now. I mean, everyone's waiting. You could probably look at Eli Lilly for this trade as well. Yeah, just that their oral pill has apparently been safe. And here it is. This is from Dara's not here right now. Now seeing reports from Reuters on weight loss drug. This is from her, reportedly saying its obesity pill has been found to be safe and tolerable. So those are probably good words. And then there it comes into the upside. And just looking at what AstraZeneca has been doing, I mean, nothing good. So that might be the bounce up. This is a daily chart for AZN. I mean, it is pretty dramatic, but it's 87 down to 73 right now. So
that's not good at all.
It's not good, but it's not horrible. But for AstraZeneca, yeah. They were kind of late to the party there. I remember with sort of the COVID shots, or they had that first one, but I guess it was a different technology, so I shouldn't say they were late. But anyways, AstraZeneca, nice move to the upside there, now pulling back in. So if you guys are into sort of that, I was going to say if you're into that drug trade, but that's not what I meant. If you know anything about the company there, AstraZeneca might be something to look at. All right. Tesla is getting close to saying, nah, man, you're not going to even be able to be positive on us today because you keep shorting us. But there it is. We'll take some more out now and try to realize that maybe this isn't the short that I was thinking it was. We've been making money on the short. I mean, you could see all of these trades, all these trades are profitable. We don't have any outs higher, and we're not going to have it right here again either. Let's put another bid out. Bang, there it is right now. It's a face slapper. Hopefully it gets lower. It's not like these aren't huge wins, man. I mean, I just don't know what this, okay, well, take that not huge win back part right there, because there it goes right now. 50 cents in the money now for Tesla as it comes back in. And you just saw me hit the keys. We just got some out at 72 right there on the bid for Tesla. So we'll kind of sit here and hope the market comes in for Tesla. But the problem is, if said market comes in, well, then Intel is going to be coming in as well. So there's Intel. We just took a piece out right there at 51s because we're underneath VWAP. This might just turn itself into a VWAP trade. Wow, Tesla is really making your boy happy right now. Let's put a 51 bid and take that out right there. Happy Halloween. If you guys remember, we were the hot dog guy, and there it comes back in right now. It's another winner. 70 cents there for Tesla. I might just tap out of this Intel. It's not doing too much. We already have profit on it. We could wait for 22.25. I think that's what we're going to do. Get a little bit more if it does come into that level, 22.20 or so. Take a bit more here on Intel. But you never want like your one long idea to hit you here. But that's okay. I'm going to trade what I see. So right now Intel's doing what I sort of expected it to do. Hang out here. We're just playing for pops. Good recovery on Tesla. Yeah, that's what I want to do.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, when you're trying to short the pops or go long off support, it does require a little bit of patience. I'm looking at, I actually have not traded Teslas since 242, and it never got to that 245 opening range top, but now you have consecutive tests underneath 244.5. Next pop over 244, I'm looking to re-engage. At this point on DJT, just a quick look on DJT, at this point, now that you broke 29, waiting for VWAP or the $30 level to re-engage a short, and either it gets to 28 or it doesn't. Like, it gets very binary here. DJT, when you zoom out the chart, which apologies, didn't really do it before, there's no obvious support level, so you get to 25 and then the 50-period moving average. So just looking at every even dollar as significant when it comes to DJT is going to be the plan of action. If we get VWAP again, we will reload it. This time you couldn't even break 244 here on Tesla. If Tesla holds 244 is a bit of a refresher there, I might take a few shares underneath and then wait for the other side for like 15s, 220s. But now you've got a couple of wicks above 244 showing a bit of a rejection, and a VWAP retracement trade does look enticing here. I've only been short this one a couple times, and the second you try to get short, now you start working into the downside. I don't want to chase too much further because it's almost at $0.50. Let's go to Adara. I think we've got to take care of some business.
This part of the show is brought to you by Firefly Neuroscience. Firefly Neuroscience has taken a bold step in advancing brain health technology. In collaboration with Bright Minds Biosciences, Firefly's innovative AI-powered platform has successfully analyzed data from a groundbreaking phase 1 clinical trial using advanced EEG technology to track brain activity. This data unlocks new potential in treating neurological and mental disorders, reinforcing Firefly's position at the forefront of brain health innovation. As they prepare for phase 2, this partnership signals exciting developments for the future of neuropsychiatric treatments. Firefly Neuroscience, shaping the future of brain health.
Thank you very much there, Adair. Shoutouts to Firefly. So a bit of a bounce on Tesla, not Tesla, on DJT that I'll get back to in a quick little second. Was able to get some here on Tesla at 73, kind of moved down to the 3/4 mark. Still think money fills are above that 244, but we are now looking for a VWAP retracement here on Tesla. It has been trend up. And given that it's trend up, I want to look VWAP retracement before we get any continuation. DJT just popped for real off 29, almost into that 30 level. We are only holding the last little 10%, looking for the 28s to the downside, or just another fill if we can get it around VWAP. But it's got to show me these wicks. Like, show me that you've got some sellers in there, rejection above 30, and then a rejection of VWAP are the reasons that we got into that trade. So show me another reason, and we'll jump right back on over into it. Amazon's still chilling. Amazon's holding VWAP really well. But you've got this, okay, let me just put that in here. You've got this higher low that was already put in once, higher low, lower high into a potential wedge forming here on Amazon. And given that I'm looking short, if you can't break that wedge up, we could be breaking down under VWAP, and then suddenly I'm not waiting for the 198. I still have my 198 offer there on Amazon, still only looking short this name, as the future is starting to show signs of rolling over here. So if we roll over underneath VWAP on the futures, getting back into Amazon looks like it is almost inevitable. If we close this candle underneath this trend, I'm short to 196.5. Again, we really have many long ideas out there today, and even Nvidia is underneath VWAP.
Watch out your Tesla here, because I'm too. So
it's almost at the half.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, there it is. That's why we cashed it out. So if it gets out at half there, I mean, we'll take a 25-cent hit, which is fine. Oh, sorry, I'm not even on Tesla. There it is. So we just got to. There it is. Okay, fine. Hot dog gun. Like, I'm actually going to celebrate. I know that was you're in a little bit of a different price, but the reason why is that it's getting out. It's risk management. It's making more on it than you lose on it. It's being green on the name despite getting stopped out. Like, so I hit that because that's sort of like part of what I'm trying to do now is a little bit better risk management. And I think we did it there with Tesla. The fact that we kept fighting it, and normally we'll be stubborn about it, but that one above, I'm going to leave it alone. We wrote down 247 on the sticky note is where we wanted to get this short. We started early and it was actually been wrong. Like this was right. Right, we talked about that break. We actually talked about this break, this 243.50 pre-market low. That was the right break, for sure, because then you'd have only been in trouble now, you know? But we didn't. We started a little bit later, then we had to average into that pre-market bottom, and then we averaged it into the 200 period. The 200 period worked once, twice, 3 times, 4th time, not. So, okay. All right, then. We'll deal with that. All right, so the other play here was we took some risk off. So I'm going to, again, sort of like, just face slap it. This is fine for me. Like, we're up on Intel right now. We take some profits out there at 40 when it pops back up. We are waiting to get more at 31s. I have no idea. I guess we just got missed there. But we do look for that 31 fill as well coming there for Intel. So maybe we can get that. Maybe I'll buy a little bit more if the market wants to go back up. I'd hate to not have enough on board. Let me buy some back here at 38s, see if we're able to get that fill, and then bring it back to the upside. And before you go to Adair, just one more name that I've been looking at is Palantir. This is coming into those areas right now, PLTR. So this could be a name that we look at. Remember, we talked about DraftKings November 7th. And then today, Palantir, we brought, oopsies, wrong thing for trade ideas. I just want to show you that Palantir tomorrow, right? So here's PLTR. we'll just get, I just want to see what it was up for the year because I said it was 140%. I think that's right. Yeah, 143% there, Palantir. So post-market today, again, you know, I think it's 6 or 7 straight EBITDA positive quarters, which I think will come through again today. So really like the stock, really like the name. Nice move to the upside here. Potential fade candidate, as look where Palantir is. The 5-minute rate here, right into some levels. This is what we are looking for short. Let's see if that trade still is there for PLTR, although I like the Intel long potential as well. So what's up, Adara?
Today's high here for Chewy. CHWY up about 7.5%, getting a bit of a volume increase as well on that last 3-minute candle. This one running higher after it's announced that it's going to be joining the S&P Midcap 400. That is effective as of the opening on November 6, 2024. So as of Wednesday, CHWY, which has about an 8.5% short float, is going to be a new entrant in that S&P Midcap 400, guys.
Chewy getting added. Look, Chewy could be a bit of a squeeze. It's hilarious that after Roaring Kitty ducked out of the stock, it's actually going to make that run. But like we said, there's that high on Tesla. So we took 2 shots at it, one underneath 42. That actually gave us VWAP before a reload. And then this last shot at the 244 level. So 1 for 3 on Tesla, but it'll be a red stock in here. DJT's right back into VWAP. And got to wait for it to curl. It showed you that there was selling at 30 last time. So I want to see that again. Like, show me that the sellers are in control. That's a pretty decent sized bounce that you've already had over there on DJT back into that VWAP. Mara actually ends up holding on to VWAP here. So like I said, if I got wicked out, and then it held that high, we'd look to get back in. So we got back in at VWAP. It's held that high a couple more times here at 15.8. So as long as it can hold on to this, we're looking for a retracement back into the lows. BTC is a bit of the story here because Bitcoin holding the bottom at 68,000 on a 15-minute. So a nice consolidation off the bottom, which I think is allowing Mara to hold up underneath VWAP. Obviously, Mara is relatively weak. The miners have been under a lot of pressure relative to BTC. But if I start seeing this, I don't know what that ad's about. If I start seeing this breaking out and I have a chance to duck out of some Mara, I do have IBIT and Bitcoin up just to be sure. So Mara is still working to the downside. Nvidia is chilling again above 137. Okay, so here's Nvidia holding on to VWAP. Every time it's closed above, essentially I've taken a shot at it. So looking for another close above VWAP in here, and we'll take another shot at the long here. It's got a nice little rounded bottom, but it's tried this before, up 1.5% on this Dow news, and not really having much follow through. So unless you got a bottom wick in here, I want that VWAP hold trade where we can play it into 138 and not have to take a breakout.
All right, waiting for Palantir. We got a new position alert. We just talked about what we're doing. We're going to short Palantir up here. We just talked about that. So we're short rate now at 68. I'm bidding 61s to get out. Bless you, of 20% of this if we can do that. And then we'll go 3 for 3 on the ideas. There it is. Yes, sir. All right, a quick one right there. I mean, we want more than this. I'm just you know, it's a good trade. So we'll take a little bit out there as now Palantir comes back in just a little bit. 41.40s would be pretty nice. Let's take another piece here if we can in the 50s. And then we'll put a bid down there into 40s and see if we can really make something happen there for Palantir. So it's a dubs. Big time dub now on Intel as Intel comes right back up. We did get out some. We bought some more back at a better price, and now we're going back up there to the upside. So we reloaded at a better price right there for Intel. We also hit our Tesla trade, hit that and quit that. Again, positive name, and then it's Intel on my mind now as we continue to go a little bit higher. So let's have a look at Tesla. We wrote down 77s. Now let's figure out why. So 47. So again, that's where the close was. So we just broke through 246. The thing about Tesla is momentum is almost too strong right now. I have to wait for that 247 area. So if that comes in, that's where I do like the short against this 250, but the 200 period's coming in, so maybe it'd only be against 249 and change. We'll adjust that, but in this area right there for Tesla, I do not mind it. But relative to the market, we're pretty strong now, right? 239, that's up 7 straight dollars. So happy to be up on it, but opportunities abound there for Tesla traders, of course. And by the way, Neil, there it is again, man. It's another win on Palantir. So, you know, so far so good. Intel, sticky note long, check. Tesla, sticky note short, check. Palantir, sticky note short, check. So right there, every single trade, we've only have 5 names. We'll go 3 for 3 on the names that we've traded here on the note. So far so good. I haven't looked, people are saying, oh my God, AMD. Like, I haven't looked anywhere other than what we're doing right now. It's, and we're back here. We're, you know, right, like we're sitting here, we're taking sort of the market and doing the best we can. And I mean, it's 10:30, but 3 for 3, you'll be pretty good to start the day here, start the week, start the month off for me. So we'll keep the momentum going now. Intel, nice 20-cent winner, looking to go more on this name. See if we'll trade at VWAP, so my bad. We'll take a piece out here on Intel if we can get it at 52. And now we'll wait, sort of arms crossed, see if we can get to that 247, which, Neil, by the way, it's getting up there on Tesla. News on Chewy, maybe, Adara? Or small cap recap?
We do still have the news with Chewy there. I know it's a couple minutes ago, but we did have news this morning that they're set to join the S&P Mid-Cap 400 as of the opening of Wednesday's trading day. Also in non-small cap related news, I'm seeing some reports that Israel apparently has struck Damascus, which is the capital of Syria. So keep an eye on more tensions in the Middle East. Now we have the IWM, which is basically at day's highs here. This is up almost 1% for that Russell 2000 and coming in to previous resistance around that 221 level. Let's see if the IWM continues to reject or breaks above. Our first small cap and watch here, Tenaya Therapeutics. No news here for TNYA, but it's worth noting they have a short float of about 7.5%. Next up is Plug Power, PLUG. Plug Power here near day's highs here, up about 11% last I checked. It's worth noting here as well for Plug, they have a 29.8% short float. It's a pretty significant short float for Plug Power. Last but not least, NUWE. This one also a significant short float, around 30% with a $2 million market cap and a 1 million share float. On Friday, they announced their preliminary earnings for Q3, which are all stronger than expected there. They also this morning announced that they have increased reimbursement rates for one of their therapies from $413 a day to $1,639 per day. So pretty decent reimbursement increase there for NUWE. Again here, 30% shortfall for New LS, guys.
Thank you very much there, Dara. And
it was the same Chewy story as this.
Chewy S&P 400. It's being added to, so that one is moving around quite precipitously. I love that word. I'm using it like 3 times already. But a big shout out actually to Trade the Pool, allowing traders like you to get evaluated and trade real shares using the company's capital, with no PDT rule holding you back. That's a real edge in trading. Here's the exciting part. Trade the Pool has just launched a limited edition program for stock traders. For a one-time fee of just $97, you'll receive $20,000 in buying power. All you need to do is reach the profit goal. Best part? This limited edition program now has a reduced profit goal and fewer minimum trades required to reach the funded phase. Plus, the profit split is upgraded. Keep 70% of the profits. Don't miss the chance to explore this limited time offer. Scan the QR code below. Check that link in the description if you're interested, and check out Trade the Pool right now, everybody, because trading firms' capital always a little bit easier than having to trade your own. Shout out to Trade the Pool there. So a little bit of a, no, Nvidia. Let's go to Nvidia first. As we come back in here, bottoming tail candle again off Nvidia. It held on to VWAP twice. Look at the over-under on VWAP. Now it's hunting for that 138 break again. This time I'm just going to actually sit at VWAP. Mara is doing exactly the same thing it was before, holding on to VWAP even with that last little pump up in the overall futures. DJT is starting to curl. So it got to, not right to VWAP, but got back above the 30 level, and you're getting that curl in there. So we're going to look for the reload now. In DJT that you're confirming some selling. So first red candle since what, like 10, on a 3-minute, since 10:09, and starting to roll back over is DJT. So just got some back into the 30-20 level on DJT. Amazon is still trying to press. It still hasn't broken the 197 since the open. So I know 198 is a level we liked. but it's not seeming like it wants to get to 198. So I'm going to get some out in front of VWAP, and then if it gets to 196 there as well, as the even dollars are playing for a bit of support. Keep talking about it and mean to bring it up, but then go over the stocks that we're in. But Chewy here, up 8%, and it's been very, what's the word I'm looking for? Like linear to the upside since breaking VWAP. It's a very controlled move up. I think the next available dip, let's see where it can put in a higher low. Chewy's got a bit of a short float. It's now above the 50 period. So I think like a late entrant here might look for some, maybe like a more lunchtime move. It's already 10:30. Might have to wait for this to settle down closer to lunchtime, but I want to look for some longs in Chewy, as it could be a squeezing. So still just Mara, DJT, Amazon, same names that we've been looking short pretty much the entire morning.
Yeah, exactly. I'm the same way. I forgot to show you this. We were in Dick's Sporting Goods. That was the other American thing that we went to. What a store. You can find no more teams. It's only Buffalo Bills teams.
You better believe
So we
it.
wore these big hats there. Yes, and I said, when in Rome. So it was really cool. Yeah, you get that. I mean, whatever. We had season tickets for a long time. So I definitely know the buzz there in Buffalo. It's crazy.
But did you jump through any tables is what people need to know.
No, I did not. Yeah, no. But right here today, we will go over and just quickly have a quick look here. Intel long, so that's going to be the P&L number 1 for me today. That's a big one. The Tesla short is going to be P&L number 3 or something for me today. It doesn't really matter. And the Palantir short is now in the building as well, and that just took out some nice levels there on PLTR. So there goes Intel. Let's go, man. Reloaded as well on that one. So that's going to be a big one, a big money drop right there for Intel as there comes in. My number 1 trade idea of the day is right now 40 cents in the money and now starting to go a little bit higher. We are out of 60% of this, maybe actually more of this Palantir trade. We just got that fill right there. I'm going to put another one right here as well. I'm, look, happy with it, but never happy enough. And I think that's what traders do. There it is. So we'll take another piece. I'm going to try to get shorter up here around 41.70, but it's a perfect day so far with Intel win, Palantir win, Tesla win, and now we'll wait to see what happens as we go forward. We just took out some more Palantir. I'm a little bit nervous. Market above VWAP, everything holding right now. You're already in DJT, so we don't really have to talk too much about that. Tesla was a miss for the shorts, depending on when you guys got them. For me, we're up on it. I mean, the only time we got stopped out was right there, and that was for 25-cent hit. So we had multiple dollar clubs on Tesla. We definitely talked about that. So it's going to be, so it's going to be a big stop. It tagged 247. I wasn't even there. Should have been. So that's what we wrote down, 247. We're not there because I canceled all my offers. All right, mistake not being there, but it did tag.
I know we're going to go to crypto, but very quickly, it did tag it, putting in a lower high now. I did try it on the way back in once it confirmed, but trend reversals through 245.50 here, and that's trend since it made the break of that 43, and also connects with the low of the day. Let's go and talk some crypto with Adara.
BTC actually still holding on to these lower highs, or higher highs and higher lows story that we've seen a bit of an uptrend since that double bottom at 54,000 completed on September 7th, 2024. So continued uptrend as long as we stay, it looks like, above that 66.5 level on this daily chart, which was our most recent low for BTC. This is certainly something we're going to keep an eye on ahead of that 2024 election. We had some comments about general election moves from Michael Noss of Trade Ideas this morning. I'm also seeing apparently Dan Crypto Trades, fairly prominent social media crypto trader, saying that in their opinion, Bitcoin will likely move by at least 10%, either up or down, depending on who wins the election. So potential 10% move being forecasted by some crypto traders. Either way, it'll be interesting to see if we could hold on to this uptrend or if it falls apart after 2 pretty strong months here. BTC up right now 1%, trying to get to that 68.5 level. Ethereum up almost 1%, around 24.5, just below that level. Solana and BNB both pretty strong here. Dogecoin notably up about 9%. Generally, with the exception of Cardano, down about 1%. We have some strength across the board here, though some names are going to be stronger than others this Monday, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's always going to be the case when you look at the crypto landscape. Some are going to be stronger than others. So Tesla, before we went to Adara at the desk there, it tagged 47, put in a lower high candle, 246.5. there is a trend connecting pretty much the entire day. If it's underneath 245.5, I'll look for another reentry. I've only tried it a couple times. One time off lower high 242, and then the 244 level in here as well. DJT just came back into VWAP. We went for the reload and then curled out at the local high. Again, letting it make a top, curling underneath, looking for reentry to the short side of the trade. But now if it wants to hold VWAP, I don't want to fight it. DJT can go squeezing. I don't think it still should be SSR, I do believe. I'm pretty sure it should be, but I'll have to double check. It says continuation. But still underneath VWAP here. We'll give it one more chance to try and press higher and give some money fills into that 31 level. But it is Tesla trying to break that trend into the downside. And once it does, which it might be doing any second now, going to look for that mean reversion trade. Yeah, it's starting to break down underneath that trend on Tesla.
Yeah, those of you in the chat are saying, yes, he did call that level, and that's exactly the level that we called. And we just weren't sitting there. I hit shift escape, and I even said it as it was ripping up. I'm like, we still have that level to come through right there. So I hope some of you took it right there. $2 range. Start building the short there. But again, we wouldn't have had like a max position or anything. It would have been $1. Well, we'll have to sit there again next time to see. Hopefully it comes up there, right there. So, okay, Intel, let's go. I mean, again, bottom of the day up to the 200 period moving average. That's a banger right there. So we'll hit the money trade on that one. And there's for you, Ozan, as well today. Again, it's going to be a big trophy day. We're really happy with it. Palantir, we only now have less than 6% or so left of Palantir. We talked about getting that out at the bottom. You saw me getting it out. I am waiting for high of day, though. I'll take a shot there. For Palantir. So let's see if that comes in. We just got filled on Intel again at 70, I guess. All right, so there's Palantir. We're getting close to getting stopped out. I'll take a 42 break out of this. So we could wind up red on Palantir if the market holds and we continue to go higher. Actually, I'm going to wait a little bit more up near when, Fabian, now? Yep, no problem. All right, so I'm gonna now wait for $42 on Palantir and then give it a little bit more room. It is starting to go upside here. We don't want to give back what we had made on this name already. So Palantir right now, not a huge trade by any stretch of the imagination, but one that we'd like to win on if possible. All right, so 247 flat coming up on Tesla. We'll start to build the position if it does come up into there. Microsoft, Shopify, Apple right now. 222. So remember I was saying that this level was giving me some feels before. It was that was before this happened. It looks like it was completely right at 222. We had, again, wrote down 223, try to be patient. We wrote down 39.50 on IBIT. So let's have a look there. IBIT not doing much as crypto, kind of just chilling out. Yeah, and doing its own thing there. Amazon, PayPal. I'm just trying to see what's going on the screen. I mean, the reason why we're on Palantir reports tonight. So I guess it's you tonight on the market recap show, so that should be a good one. You guys some Palantir earnings there to talk about. And then I guess the other name that I know Neil's been in, first of all, Intel's still going. Okay, because it's on the screen right now, let's talk about it. We now all do have right now e-signal. So all of the traders now have e-signal equipped. So we'll be talking more about them as they continue to go. I love it. Make sure you grab the apps, grab everything with there. Scan the QR code, go over. I think it's a free trial. I'm not sure on how many days, but 30-day free trial. Go scan that QR code right there. Grab it. I mean, it's real time. All these indicators. That's where I get all mine from. It has the hot lists, entitlements, everything. Easy to download. Complete, like, it's app-based, so it's not like something that you have to grab off on Chrome or online base there as it goes. Okay, so by the way, Tesla just right now at 247. So this is going to be the start of a trade. Thank you, eSignal, for that. The screener plus all of that. We'll start showing you more and more about eSignal. But Fabian, let's go over here because Tesla is right here right now. The last time it came up here, it tagged in for $1. So I'm going to put down here for 50-cent winner. We'll see if we can get out of a third of it. If it does fall back in, but it's Tesla. It's on the radar right now for the short. The only thing is, okay, well, I mean, now it's in the money, 10 cents. We're not taking that. It's 20,200. So that's going to be a level here. We've touched it earlier. That's when it first was up here, Tesla. We fell back in. Now we're back here right now. Let's see if the futures want to hold out for this name. Tesla, a little bit of a dip, dive, and dodge here. All right, you know what, Tesla? I'll take out 5% right there. Bang, there it is again, man. Wow, the People's Trader has returned. And we have returned elevated one more time. So right there, 3 for 3 today. Happy, happy, joy, joy. says Ren and Stimpy, because we are back in the building. All is well. There goes Intel right now, 40, 50 cents now. Intel just gives us 75s. Tesla on the reload, looking for 30 cents. Well, 50-cent winner there on Tesla. Pretty good so far, everybody. The Qs, GSAT, GME. I mean, there's so many things happening right now. I just hope that you guys are able to pick your poison. I mean, a lot of different names here. I've just traded 3 today.
Yeah, lots of names here today. I mean, I've only traded in the same ones, Amazon, DJT, Mara, Nvidia, and Tesla. And Tesla, now it has an obvious rule, right? Like if it's a trend up like this, you know the setup, you've been watching the show, gets to 47, it's much different here than here, and it needs to close underneath and reject that trend line. It's $3 from underneath the trend line to VWAP. So waiting for the shot is going to make some serious sense here at that level. It's trend up going into it. Amazon will lose 2/3 what we made of it. And you know what? At the end of the day, this ends up holding trend as well. We had a couple of good scalp shorts in there, all underneath VWAP. It's now breaking out the high. The last pullback got us into VWAP. As we said, we liked it for the sell on that 200 and continuation play. It's not really broken out to give any fills out around the 198 previous close. So now I have to wait for a trend reverse or 198 on Amazon. But it is Tesla that's now in this zone. Once it closes underneath that trend, it's short, give too high, play back into VWAP, sort of that patented trend reversal entry here because it's been trending up into this level. So I want to make sure we have some confirmation on it. Nvidia is still trying to hold VWAP, but I haven't really seen like a huge obvious point at which Nvidia has given a great entry point just yet. And DJT, not done with DJT.
Oh boy.
Oh, here we go. It's going to likely close in about 15 seconds or so. We should get confirmation here on Tesla. I don't want to jump in too early on this. I'm looking for this pullback all the way to VWAP, so there's plenty of time for it to make that move.
Yeah, so Neil looking for that pullback. Meanwhile, we'll sit in this one again. It's $1 winner on the short right now, but I'm doing that too. I am starting to get out now. We'll put $1 in our pocket all day, everybody. So right there, so we'll put that in. It's just 75 cents we just took. So we'll wait. If we can get $1, that's what I'm saying. That's where we'll start to bid out some more there. I am at 246.03. Hope we didn't get that down. There it is. Oh. We just get it? Oh, no, it went to 05. Wow. Okay, let's see if we get a nice little downside push here for Tesla and put that back on the board for us one more time, man. We've making dollars and dollars on this Tesla trade today, just back and forth, shorting every single time in this strong name. So, I mean, yeah, I guess we're definitely reading the market real well these last little whiles. The streak that we've been on over the last couple of weeks has been pretty good. Right there again here today. So 3 for 3, all off the stick. You know, we got to look at Apple and a couple more. Nice retracement play there off 246. We're already out of 65% of this Tesla trade. And you know what? I'm going to put out another 5%. And there it is. We'll get that out there at 32s. Another 5% out for Tesla. And again, I think that it is basing possibly here at 246, which is why we're trying to get out. So we only have now 30% or so left. We'll double check it when we get back. Are we ready over there at the screen? Okay, it's 10:40.
We're going to take a look here at this sector board. And right away, you can see a bit of a discrepancy here between the tech sectors. We have electronic technology really strong here. Nvidia and Broadcom to the upside. AMD doing pretty well here as well. Nvidia, of course, getting added to that Dow Jones Industrial Average, replacing Intel effective the morning of November 8th, which is going to be Friday. Apple, though, a little bit weaker as BRKB sells some more of its position. On the other hand, you have technology services, which is a little bit more mixed to muted. Microsoft and Meta basically flat. Google slightly down in the day. We also have finance here. BRKB, speaking of them, had their earnings over the weekend, trading a little bit lower along with another main constituent of this sector, which is going to be JPM. We have some strength here, though. Amazon a little bit flat, but retail trade generally pretty strong. We also have energy minerals really strong today as we have some ongoing tensions in the Middle East, with the exception of Tesla. Consumer durables looking pretty good here as well. Health services a bit more mixed. UNH and HUM to the downside, with HUM getting a price target decrease after its earnings last week. Health technology a little bit weaker here as well. LLY still to the downside after that earnings report last week, guys.
All right.
Eli, under a little bit of pressure. Oh, there was anyway, so you closed underneath that trend line. So we enter when it finally did on Tesla. 246.42 is the price. I meant to go back and mention Viking Therapeutics. There was news. Someone was asking in the chat. It was at the early stage revealed early stage from their experimental oral obesity drug showing good results for weight loss and for safety, but they sold off the entire move. And not only did they sell off the entire move, they then continued to sell it off even further. So remember I was saying there's a difference between investing in VKTH and trading it. Do not like it when you have a gap up, give up the entirety of the move on any kind of a pharma name when you have a good result. So it's probably going to need to base out. If it goes SSR, 10% down, I'll probably look at Viking for a bit of a dip buy. But I think there's a big difference between looking at that thing for the long term and looking at it for the day trade. You never want a gap fill that big to essentially be zero at the open, which is pretty much what happened on VKTX. So in a Tesla, giving it to that high. Mara's still, I mean, Sean showed you Bitcoin not really doing much. It's given a couple of fills underneath VWAP. I think the money fills now look like they're over VWAP here at 1575. And AMD is definitely the one versus Nvidia. Like this is AMD, that's Nvidia, which is now putting a couple of bars above that VWAP. That said, I still like Nvidia given the catalyst that it's got, and you're finally getting a nice VWAP hold, a couple of strong moves above VWAP here. If we close another green one above VWAP, going to still be looking for that Nvidia long, with the NASDAQ barely holding green, like 0.16%. That's it. Hasn't been that strong of a day, but it is still a V-shaped recovery on the NASDAQ. So we'll take one more shot here at Nvidia off of VWAP here. We're going to look for 137.5 and play back into VWAP. If we lose it again, at least we're in the space that we like to the long side, because this is the one I wanted long pretty much the entire day. And this is finally above that 37 in VWAP, which is where I've only been looking to engage.
All right, so as Neil explained there, he's into that Tesla. We got it. We got that dollar. We just got that down there. So we'll go props up for that. We got 246.03. So now we are very, very light on this Tesla trade. So if it blows up, it blows up. Fine by us on that one. You know what? We were waiting here at 97s. It went to 86s or so for Palantir. I'll just put a small little trade on for Palantir. Maybe it gets back up into that area, into the 80s again, up near that high side one more time. It was interesting to see that. I was looking at BRKB. I want to buy more of this after the show. Down here, down today off that report. And Darryl was talking about it. We talked about some Apple and so on and so forth and weakness and this and that and all over the place. So Berkshire today down 2.2% as they've, relisted. They had their earnings report over the weekend and they've talked about some of the positions they have. Chevron. I mean, they still have basically $70 billion worth of apples.
Still a lot of apples.
Yeah, just a little bit. Just a little more than we have in our own account. So we'll continue to watch out for that one. Again, Intel, big trade, right? We got out up there. We do have a very, very small piece left, maybe 15% of this. We're getting lighter and lighter because the big thing is we're getting closer and closer to what's for lunch around this place today. So it should be a good one. It's always pretty good around here, that's for sure, I think. I think most people like it. All right, we just got filled on something there, by the way. Hold on a second. Oh, we got Intel Cell. Okay, good. Today's Korean barbecue chicken. So that's nice with lime hoisin, glazed sauce, steamed Chinese rice. That's pretty good. Bok choy soy sauce as well. So that's what it is. It's Korean barbecue chicken with a bit of rice up in there. That's what's for lunch today. So I hope you guys enjoy your lunch. It should be a good one there. All right, Tesla falls back a little bit. I'm going to take out one more piece here. Why not? We'll take 40 cents on it. We'll do that over and over again and just keep it going, man. Today is going to be a very, very positive day for me. Intel up, Palantir up, Tesla up, finite. That's that. So that's, we'll go 3 for 3 today. Obviously, you guys can see what we're doing here. It's been good day trading, and I hope that all my positions have been easy to watch, easy to explain. I mean, Palantir is one trade, right? And now we'll wait for the short. We didn't get it back there. Tesla, multiple trades, but at easy levels, right? Breaks through there, 42, we take that. That's $3 winner. All right, and then it came back in here. We shorted. This is where we got out once it broke that level. So that was an L, but it was barely anything because we had gotten all these out. Then we took it against these pre-market levels of 244 and the 200 period. Very, very easy trades. Right back in, got them out at VWAP, got them out at the 50 period. Then we ripped higher, got out. Then we said, let's check out our sticky note. And bang, there it is there again for our sticky note. Tesla right on there, 247. So we take it again and put $1 in our pocket there for Tesla, but now it's starting to rip back up right there again. So Tesla right now not trading well, but we only have 5% left of this trade. So So far, so good there for Tesla. I know you're still sitting in that one.
Yeah, I'm still sitting in it. We're just following our execution plan, but it does make this break of the high. So unfortunately, well, okay, not just yet, but it's about to break out that $0.50. Again, just trying to stick with our particular plan of action. So a trade that's basically worked actually 80% last week. If we had a level and then we had confluence with it, with a break of the day-long trend line, the pullback into VWAP has generally been a pretty solid one for me. But there it goes. There's a $0.50. We get out of it. Now, the trend line doesn't work for the out. I always go to like the next level up. So when it broke, I'm always going to give it usually the $0.50. I'm not going to give it to like some random 30 or something along those lines. But again, just one entry point. We did take, I think the only trade that was off schedule might have been the one at 44. You had successive lower highs, and it hadn't really broken the trend at that particular point. So should have needed it to close underneath, which it didn't. But that's a trend I'm taking 10 out of 10, or that's a trade I'm taking 10 out of 10 over there on Tesla. We're still in Nvidia, which we just got off of VWAP, and then Mara is still not really doing much of anything. DJT is the other one that I did want to jump back into. With only 10 minutes to go here, DJT now above VWAP for the first time since about 9:40 or so, but holding underneath that 31 level. The last time it was above here, you had failure at 31 and then back underneath. I'm going to need not only failure underneath 31, but then show me like a little bit of a head and shoulders. Back underneath VWAP, where we've been only shorting in the 30-30, 30-40 range, and that's where I want to get back to. Essentially the same prices on DJT, because we ultimately never got play into resistance here, up at $33. So you might have been able to short that one if you looked for a quick little mean reversion, but that was never the idea for me. It was off the 30, had to get to 33. Otherwise, we look for trend continuation under VWAP. So this move could take us back into that high, or we patiently wait for this to get back underneath VWAP. I'm only looking shorts on DJT. And as said with Nvidia, it's now bouncing off of VWAP, but cannot seem to break 138. It's double tapped the 138 level. I'll get some out in front. I'm still looking for the breakout at that level. I don't have the order in just yet, but I'm still looking for a breakout above 138 here on Nvidia, which is taking all day long to do a heck of a lot of nothing here on Nvidia.
Almost Christmas time. All right, so 'tis the season to be long Palantir heading into earnings. So we'll, there is some size up here. I'm not going to take, I do have a 97 waiting there. If we break through that, we'll see. And then if we go breaking through 40, there we go. Now, if we break through 42, you can see my average price is now 92s. So hopefully we can fall back in a little bit and start taking some bids a little bit lower than this, but that's it. I'm not going to take any more. We actually only got part filled there at 97, but I'm very aggressive play here. It doesn't matter that, like I was saying, you guys clearly don't care if we're 2 for 2, 3 for 3, 10 for 10, 0 for 10. You know, it's the executions. It's, do you understand why we're in this, I feel like? And can we explain ourselves? So for me, whenever I struggle to be like, why are we really even in this name? Then we probably shouldn't be in it. So for me right now on Palantir, we've made money on it. And that's what I'm saying. It doesn't, like, whether or not I make money or not, I don't, you guys can see, we talk about it, what we're up or down. It's about the execution plan. So right now, like 42, if that breaks, then we're going to get out of it. It's a nice move up. We thought that we would probably protect this 4180, this bottom. Didn't happen, but let's just play this little bit of a market move. I still feel the market could be a little bit weak here. It's 20,200. It's come up 200 handles from the bottom today. We were down about 0.6 or 0.7. Now we've made the move up. So if Palantir wants to come back in, great. But if we can get out at like 4170 here, ring the register for this, we're going to only give this like 15 cents. So back in would be a nice trade there for Palantir. And we have about 10% of the position that we normally have on Tesla, but we are starting to build it. That's what we said. Let's build this, 247 to 249. It's right in the middle now. It's 248. So we'll wait for a little bit more, up to 249. With only 8 minutes left, we'll do that. Intel trying to hold out. Again, we're only in about 10 or 15% of this trade. We got some more out there at 60. I might just get out of Intel here. It's been a good trade. It'll be the #1 trade here, but at the end of the day, it's been pretty barcodey here. It's at the same levels it's at now than we were at 945. So yeah, Intel not really getting me too excited, especially the fact that we're holding these shorts. So let's wait to see if the short plays out, get some more out here on INT. SPCE. So, all right. Was that a call for Adara? Money Talks? No? Okay. We're 3 minutes late past Money Talks. So there we go.
Before we get to Money Talks, we're going to quickly look here at DRUG. This is Bright Minds Biosciences. Now, to be clear, not a ton of volume yet in this name. It's below 500,000 shares traded on the day, but this went up about 9%. If you remember this ticker, it might be because we had a massive multi-day run a few weeks ago in early mid-October. So DRUG, when it moves, it can move with about a 43% short float, guys. Now, in terms of the US dollar, lots of interesting action on the DXY over the past few days. It had a really strong month of October. Then that action kind of petered out over the last week. We had a bullish engulfing candle on Friday, which took out the last 3 days of price action. Now with this bearish engulfing candle taking out that entire move, the only economic data we got today was this U.S. factory orders month-over-month change for September. Came in at negative 0.5, so that is above the prior print, or the estimate here of negative 0.4%. Here, it's below the estimate of negative 0.4%, but above the prior print of negative 0.8%, which was a revision. It's worth noting the original print here was negative 0.5%. So the unrevised number is basically flat here with what we got for September. We also have at 1 p.m. the 3-year note auction. Now, lots on watch here with regards to the DXY and the U.S. economy ahead of not only the election on Tuesday night, but also the FOMC meeting, which is uncharacteristically actually going to be on a Thursday. We're going to be getting that decision at 2 p.m. on Thursday, November 7th. Then at 2:30 p.m., we'll get comments from FOMC Chair Powell. Now, we had at one point, last week, we had a 100% estimate here on the CME group. Fed Watch, the Fed funds rate was saying 100% chance of a 25 basis point cut. Now we actually have 0.2% factored in here, so about a potentially 50 basis point cut. Generally, though, we're looking for 100 basis points here from that meeting, guys.
100 basis points.
Well, 100%. Well, almost 100% chance of a quarter, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so nothing to do with basis points. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's
scared me. I was like, are we going up to 100 for some reason here?
Well, it's usually not 100% because it's not till Thursday, so it's actually very, very close.
Oh no, 100%. That's fine. When she said 100 basis points, I was like, oh my god, I thought we were just cutting a quarter or 50. Like, what's going on?
And we're gonna get a quarter. It's just a little shocking to me that it'll be close to 100% this early because it is a little bit later on. Usually we get a decision on a Wednesday. Obviously the election's tomorrow, so they push it off 1 day. Yeah, because the meeting has to be 2 days. I guess that's the reason why. I can't recall a time stab before. Just one more thing here. Nvidia, not yet has it broken the 138 level. Still looking for a breakout above 138. If there's another dip into VWAP, that sits at 137.30. We'll look for a dip buy into that. DJT is not looking like it wants to make another foray underneath VWAP, so we'll just have to wait for it to press into that 33 level. That's the level we liked. It never really gave it to you all that clean, and then it was just a VWAP retrace. So with that clearly in the rear view, a VWAP retracement, we'll just have to wait around for DJT to maybe make its way to that 33 level. Chewy was a bit of a late look based on that, the addition into the 400, S&P 400. It kind of really wicked into VWAP in here, no real consolidation. We'll look to see if VWAP can hold, and maybe this will calm down and give some trades off of VWAP here. But I feel like Nvidia breaking this 138 is going to be the next thing that either happens or we get a pullback into VWAP. So no longer going to be aggressive underneath VWAP for DJT. Tesla's still trending higher until it gets to 250 or holds an underneath trend. I don't think I want to fight that one anymore. And there was one more that I wanted to get to. Oh, yes. It was Amazon. Amazon's still holding 197. So the next level we like was 198 previous close. So underneath VWAP or off the wick high, wait for the 198 level. We're not really pressing very hard here. So I have a hard time believing with this lack of strength that some continuation plays aren't going to come back in. Bit of an inside day for the morning on the overall market. So when you get to that previous close on Amazon, that's the level we liked. We're a dollar away from it here. I do think we get there continuing trend into lunchtime. Just have to wait for it. DJT got to wait for 33. Amazon got to wait for 98. Tesla got to wait for 250. Nvidia, either we break long 138 or we're long in VWAP down at that bottom. If there's anything else you guys are looking at, I know AMD's been popular. AMD getting right into Friday tops, or resistance, I should say. I'm not fading this one, but if you were looking at a trend reversal, maybe. AMD, the reason why I didn't necessarily love it for a fade was that 140 bounce. It's doing a bit of a trend reversal on the higher time frame here, where it's pulled through VWAP, looked pretty weak, and you're getting a nice little update for AMD. Yeah, I like that it's actually probably almost a continuation play in the afternoon. But let's let it settle down a little bit here. The futures can't seem to take off the top, and I'd rather play Nvidia.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, I like Nvidia as the number one.
ARM was nuts.
Nvidia's always been my number one stock. I should go back over to it. All right, only 2 minutes left, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. We do have the midday show coming up with Joe and with Sharif. They're locked and loaded. Do we have a topic today? It is. All right, perfect. Analyzing price action before earnings. So I think that's going to be, very timely. We have 20% of the S&P 500 reporting this week. So if you're a little bit stuck, you're thinking about options, you're thinking about what are we seeing here? What could that possibly mean for a trend? We're going to find out in just a matter of minutes now with Sharif and Joe coming through. And then Neil and I will be back very, very soon after that at 2 p.m. To talk Fed, to talk election trades and things like that as we get ready for what is tomorrow. We'll have a quick look here. So just so everybody knows, I'm going to stop myself out at 250. We break 250 on Tesla. That's that. We are averaging into this trade. So I don't even have a position right now. I have 10% of what we want on Tesla. We'll get more as we go higher and higher on that one. Right now, it's moving, it's 248, so no problem there for Tesla. We're waiting to get more at 249, and then again at 250, and then break it if it gets a little bit higher than that. My bids are at 247 flat, then 246.50, and then lower on that one. And here we go again. Oh no, we'll find out what Palantir wants to do. We'll take a 90 fill here, or 91 fill. Hopefully it comes back in there, and we'll be able to see what we do now with Palantir coming back off of that short. So, oh boy, we're starting to do it, aren't we, again? More outs there on Intel as that's trying to fade back in. I do not have any more. Well, I do have a bid, but I'm going to cancel it right now on Intel. If we take out that bottom, we are gone. We are hella short now heading into the midday. So we'll get out of Intel. I'm just going to put this stop if it breaks right here. If this breaks 30, we're gone. Watch me do it. 22.29. There's the stop on Intel. We will take a 9-cent hit, and that will basically give back very, very small piece.
Before we go.
Yeah, go ahead.
Before we go, there's this STAF up 100% here. Staffing 360 Solutions shares up. They disclosed a definitive agreement under which Atlantic International is going to acquire all outstanding shares of Staffing valued at $25 million. So you'll receive 1.202 shares of Atlantic for each that you hold. So it's an all-stock deal with ATLN. So if you're trading STAF, then ATLN, which I guess is not on the NASDAQ. Where is this thing? Okay, I can't even, maybe it's on the OTC, to be honest with you. It might actually be on the OTC there, so you're going to have to watch that on the OTC, it looks. But if you're trading this runner, STAF, understand that it's engaged in an all-stock deal, meaning it's not your average gap and go. Right? Like there's an implicit ceiling, which will be on this if you're not watching this ATLN, which is Atlantic Staffing. It must be on the OTC markets. It is 11 o'clock, and as Sean mentioned, we'll be back at 2 o'clock for some afternoon trading. But now we got Joseph and Sharif to learn to trade.
Oh, SoFi.
Go get them.
I meant to look at DJT before.
What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to that, or How to Trade, formerly known as that midday show. That's your boy Joey Options.